propane is energy for everyone. And when you're cooking with clean, affordable propane, you're cooking with gas. In the wintertime, nothing heats a home like Louisiana propane. And when you need hot water, propane's got you covered. Oh, and you won't regret that propane generator when the power goes out. I'm Miss Louisiana, Gabrielle McLeod, and to find more information and to find a propane dealer near you, visit louisianapropane.com.
At Bayou Automotive, we believe in a sales process that puts you first. We want you to experience an easy purchase with clear pricing and great service. Let Bayou Ford and Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram be your trusted partners in finding your perfect vehicle. The crew at Bayou Automotive.
This is SportsCenter.
I'm Christine Lisi. Breaking NBA news. A little more than 2 years after being traded from the Warriors to the Mavericks, Klay Thompson's on his way out of Dallas. Expected to sign with the Heat after clearing waivers following his buyout from the Mavs, he addresses Miami's need for perimeter shooting as it seeks to build a contender. American businessman Mark Stadds bought the lead stake of the NBA's Minnesota Timberwolves and WNBA's Minnesota Lynx. Deals valued at $4.5 billion. NBA's Board of Governors expected to approve the deal next month. No winner in the Raiders quarterback race between Kirk Cousins and rookie Fernando Mendoza just yet. Team isn't ready to name its starter, explains coach Clint Kubiak.
I know I said it last night. I just don't think it ever benefits a player to know that they have a spot secured, and if there's always a little bit of uneasiness about that, that benefits the whole team, the player and the team.
Kubiak also said he was pleased with Mendoza's progress, especially when watching the tape from last night's preseason game. Seahawks receiver Jake Bobo suffered what appeared to be a serious knee injury during today's joint practice against the Titans.
Hey, it's Evan Cohen. Coming up Monday, Sam Darnold and the Seahawks are trying to repeat as champions this year. But I'll tell you whether or not, I think they have enough pieces in place to actually get it done. It's Unsportsmanlike, 6 a.m. Eastern, right here on ESPN Radio, ESPN2, and ESPNU.
Matt Moscona.
I'm very important.
After further review.
Say one more time.
After further review with Matt Moscona.
And here we go.
Live from the Raising Cane studio.
Let's rock! Oh!
And off we go. Welcome aboard. Glad you're with us. It's AFR presented by Don Juan Cigar Bar, not at the Raising Cane Studios. We are here at the DraftKings Sportsbook at the Golden Nugget in Lake Charles. As Alondra is fond of saying, I was unfamiliar with your style. This is a beautiful place. Thanks. Shout out to our friends here at the Golden Nugget in Lake Charles for hosting us. Great facility, and we're fired up to be here on a really influential day as the NCAA case for the class of 2022 eligibility stuff has taken another turn. We're going to get into all that here. Ross Dellenger in 15 minutes from right now. We got Scott Shanle next hour as the Saints are ready for their second preseason game. We got a ton to do. Let us begin as we do every single day.
It's time to pop the top on another edition of AFR with Bud Light. Drink easy.
Okay, we are going to get to Ross Dellenger in 13 minutes from right now to kind of give us all of the particulars of what happened today, but I'll give you sort of the abbreviated Cliff's Notes now, and then we'll go into nuance with Ross in the next segment. So remember that Colorado judge granted the waiver for all of the 2022 athletes for an extra year. Well, the NCAA appealed, and the judge agreed with the NCAA. So the blanket waiver for the whole class of 2022, that's over for now because all of the players can individually file a lawsuit in their own individual state. That's what all the athletes, for example, Trinidad Chambliss went to state court in Mississippi to get his eligibility waiver, and he got it. Well, for our purposes here, what's relevant is the 16 student athletes that were granted the TRO by a Louisiana judge earlier this week. That still holds. So what next? Is the NCAA going to go state by state and fight all of these cases? Maybe. Will they just grant a blanket waiver for the class of 2022, which is probably would have been, maybe it's not what they should have done. It would have been the cleanest thing for them to do. We'll say it that way. So I don't have all those answers. we'll talk to Ross Dellenger here in about a little more than 10 minutes from right now to try to get some perspective on that. But for now, the blanket waiver granted by that judge in Colorado, that's gone. If players want eligibility, they'll have to go state by state to get it, filing their own individual lawsuit, something that Jack Pyburn and those other players have already done. So we'll get more info on that in a bit. Tigers were on the practice field earlier today. Full disclosure, I was not there. I was driving here to Lake Charles. There's an event in Lake Charles called Legis Gator. Great event. Had a lot of clients and different dignitaries and people here, so I was there for the luncheon. And then thanks to our friends here at the Golden Nugget in Lake Charles who were willing to host us for the show. So I was able to just go to that luncheon and then instead of driving back to Baton Rouge, pop over here for the show. Great spot, by the way. 10 out of 10 recommend if you've not been to Golden Nugget Lake Charles. Beautiful spot, and this DraftKings Sportsbook is awesome. TVs everywhere. Except for Gordy, who commandeered this giant screen in front of me, which if you're watching, you can't see. But it was football, and now he's got football on there. It's the opening day of the Premier League, apparently. Alondra, can we plug the phone in? It says low battery. Thank you. Okay, so... But I did follow up with a lot of folks. William Weathers, who shout out if you're someone who's followed LSU, Saints, Louisiana sports for a long time. You're familiar with William Weathers. He joined our team over at LouisianaSports.net. So William and Rivers today did the honors catching practice hunts at the wharf or something like that. Well, I don't know, Dave Matthews. I don't know who's he watching. Maybe not Dave Matthews. Maybe it's like what's that? Who sings that song? Alonzo that goes, "Somebody that I used to know." Somebody. Whoever that is, yeah, that's probably who Hunt's going to see. I can't back that up, but just probably. Anyway, so William has his practice report up at LouisianaSports.net. The most notable thing from practice today is Lamar Brown was back. We told you a day ago that Lamar Brown was not there at Tuesday. I think we talked about this at Tuesday's practice. There was a play in the team drills, as I was told, where a couple guys got tangled, slow to get up. Lamar was one of them. They put him in a boot, precautionary. Lamar even posted on social yesterday that he's out of the boot. We told you yesterday it was not a big deal, but it was notable. I mean, if the five-star number one player in the country who is at a position where LSU is thin, and they are thin at defensive end, where you've already lost Gabe Relaford, and Damian Shanklin is not with the team presently, and now you tell me another guy is not at practice, yes, that is notable, so we talked about it yesterday. But I also told you that it was not thought to be in any way serious, and clearly it's not, as Lamar was back today and a full go. So that's great to see that Lamar Brown was back. Harlan Berry out at practice as well, Jordan Ross. All the guys who had been limited at various times or missing practice were all there. And it's really notable because Saturday, LSU is going to scrimmage in Tiger Stadium, and that's going to be the end of fall camp. So they practiced here Friday. They scrimmaged Saturday in Tiger Stadium. They have the day off of on-field work on Sunday. And then Monday classes begin. And as Lane Kiffin told us when he met with reporters a day ago, that's when they turn the page to Clemson. And so then they're starting to get ready for their season opening opponent. And that's when it stops being about position battles and good on good and an install of what you do. Now it's about working toward your opponent. And so everything shifts. The reps start to get pared down. It's not about getting a whole bunch of different guys reps and getting them better. It's about getting the guys who are going to play, those 50, 60 guys that are going to actually see the field against Clemson, getting them ready for that game. So, a little bit later in the show today, I do want to talk about my big fall camp takeaways. But, I do think when you go through fall camp, there are, however you want to term it, right, winners and losers or risers or fallers, stock up, stock down, all that stuff based on what we were able to see. And if I were to kind of pinpoint a couple, I think, we've clearly seen a separation among the receivers where, remember, they brought in 9 from the portal. They added 3 freshmen, and then they had Philip Wright return. So 13 scholarship receivers. I think it's pretty clear that they've identified, as Lane said, he wanted, 4 to 6. Well, it's very clear. Jace Brown, Trey Wilson, Winnie Watkins, Jackson Harris, and then I throw Malik Elzy in that mix as well. I think you've identified the guys at this point that you think are going to be the key guys at receiver. I think defensively, the big story is at safety, where, as I understand it from what we've seen with our eyes and talking to people on staff, Jace Brown, I think both Jace Brown and Tamarcus Cooley are going to play against Clemson, play a lot against Clemson. But I think Jace Brown is going to start. Jace Thomas. I think Jace Thomas is going to start against Clemson at safety opposite Ty Benefield, and that's a big development. Where Cooley's a guy that started every game a season ago and played 700 defensive snaps, and now you're talking about a guy in his second year in Jace Thomas who's had a great camp. Blake Baker talked about it last Friday, that he was one of the real surprises of fall camp, has elevated himself, and is likely going to get an opportunity to start their week 1, game 1 against Clemson. And then, I think I would love to have been able to see something on special teams, but in all of the availability that we got out at fall camp, we literally never saw a kick, a punt, a fair catch, a kick return, nothing during fall camp. So we just didn't get to see anything from special teams. Even when the specialists were on the far field, the work they were doing was just like swinging their leg and doing calisthenics, not actually kicking. It's weird to say, but like the place kickers would like put the ball flat on the ground and then run up and like swing their leg and not actually kick the ball. So I never got to chart a field goal or tell you anything, but it's pretty clear Scott Starzik's going to be your place kicker for field goals, PATs. Grant Chadwick, the Middle Tennessee transfer, is going to be your punter. I do believe Jace Brown is going to get the first crack at returning punts. I don't know what they're going to do as far as kickoff returns. I think that remains to be seen. If I can get an answer for you, I will. But just a few takeaways so far from fall camp here, the first fall camp under Lane Kiffin, as LSU is getting ready for their season opener 2 weeks from Saturday against Clemson. Y'all, we're almost here, man. A week from tomorrow, LSU's going to scrimmage in Tiger Stadium on Saturday. Next Saturday is week 0. You have real, actual keeping score, counting against your record college football next Saturday. And, of course, LSU and Clemson 2 weeks from Saturday in Tiger Stadium. I mean, the most anticipated season opener for LSU, probably since that 2011 Oregon game. I mean, let me not say that. Last year against Clemson was a top 10 matchup, and that was the most anticipated season opener. This one just takes on a different flavor because of the Kiffin component and everything therein, and it's in Tiger Stadium and all that. So we're all fired up for it, and it's almost here. And we will talk a little bit more throughout the show today about Lane Kiffin's first fall camp. Charlie Weiss met with reporters here on Friday. We'll let you hear some of what LSU's offensive coordinator had to say. So we got a ton to do. All right, we're glad you're with us. Our show open every day is brought to you by Bud Light. Drink easy with the great taste of Bud Light, the official beer of AFR, the official beer of your Fighting Tigers of LSU. Hey, if you're going to be watching the Saints, remember, Bud Light, the official beer of the Saints. If you're going to be watching the Saints on Saturday, 3 o'clock against the LA Rams, make sure you're doing so at your favorite sports bar, watering hole, restaurant, or from the comfort of your own couch or favorite chair with delicious ice-cold Bud Light. And you can get the officially licensed New Orleans Saints cans. You can get the LSU cans in 16-ounce aluminum bottles as well. Drink easy with the great taste of Bud Light, the official beer of AFR. All right, y'all, it is After Further Review. Friday show is brought to you by Don Juan Cigar Bar. We're here in the DraftKings Sportsbook at the Golden Nugget in Lake Charles, and glad to have you hanging out with us here. We'll knock out a quick break, come back. Our buddy Ross Dellenger from Yahoo is going to join us. We'll get more of the particulars and the nuance of what happened today in the 5-for-5 ruling with that court case out in Colorado with Judge Sweeney there. So we'll get to that when we come back with Ross Dellenger. Stay with us here. It's AFR.
AFR.
We're brought to you by Clegg's Nursery with 4 locations in the greater Baton Rouge area. Seagan near Airline, LA 16 in Denham, Mid-City on Donmore, and the Garden Center on Greenwell Springs. Tell you every day to buy local and shop local over at Clegg's Nursery. And remember, y'all, we are getting close to hunting season. And if you're a deer hunter and you're getting those plots ready, remember, our friends at Clegg's Nursery have got you covered. They've got buckbusters, they've got mow bucks, and they've got deer corn. All of it. You need to put those plots out. Make sure before you go to your property, you go to Clegg's Nursery. Any of the 4 locations in the greater Baton Rouge area. And look, one of the things I always encourage you to do, bypass the big box store. Clegg's is a locally owned and operated business. They've been around for 60 years serving Louisiana and South Louisiana. So make sure you go see our friends at Clegg's Nursery. Any of the 4 locations. Buy local, shop local, and be sure to tell them that Matt sent you in when you go see our friends today at Clegg's Nursery.
If your office is experiencing
performance issues like slow networks, jammed printers, or disappearing files, Advanced Office Systems may be right for you. With powerful IT solutions, print management, document imaging, and security systems, they help offices regain confidence naturally. Side effects may include uncontrollable efficiency, smoother workflows, and a sudden burst of office joy. Say goodbye to those emotional breakdowns in the supply closet and get back on track with Advanced Office Systems.
Ever wonder why cane sauce doesn't come in a pre-sealed packet? It's because it's made fresh inside every Raising Cane's every single day. Because when you make it right, you can taste it in every bite. Raising Cane's chicken fingers, one love.
Investing in a new roof doesn't have to be overwhelming. At Pelican Roofing, we offer 0 interest for 21 months because everyone deserves a safe, secure home. Trusted, local, affordable. Pelican Roofing, making quality roofing affordable for South Louisiana families.
These are the luckiest ice cubes in the world. They could have been a thankless bed for an all-you-can-eat salad bar. But instead, they've been called upon to cradle and cool a crisp, refreshing Dos Equis. Looks like the lucky just got luckier. Dos Equis.
Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram has the new Ram 1500 truck on our lot now with $22,000 off MSRP.
Plus the complimentary 7-year powertrain warranty that comes with all new Bayou Automotive vehicles.
If you need sales or service, the crew at Bayou Automotive is going to do right by you.
After Further Review with Matt Moscona, presented by Don Juan Cigar Bar.
Glad to have you back with us here. We are live at the DraftKings Sportsbook at the Golden Nugget in Lake Charles. Gorgeous spot. They're so hospitable to us. Look, if you've never made a plan to pop on over to Southwest Louisiana and spend a day here or a weekend here at the Golden Nugget, you need to do it. It's a beautiful property. Trust me. Not that Tillman Fertitta would ever half-step anything, but this place is awesome. When you get to Ross Dellenger real quick, we do have breaking news, and this is significant for Lane Kiffin's LSU Tigers. Pete Thamel, just a few minutes ago, per Noah Reinsfeld of 21 Sports and Entertainment, he's the agent for former Notre Dame defensive end junior Tuihalamaka. Junior Tuihalamaka has committed to LSU. So Tuihalamaka was one of the athletes that was part of the TRO in Louisiana earlier this week. He played in 54 games over 4 seasons at Notre Dame. He made 6 starts. So if you were wondering, did LSU need help at end and edge, this is, what do I always say? Actions speak louder than words. Here you go. Junior Tuihalamaka has committed to LSU, and Jack Pyburn could be not far behind. Ross Dellenger, Yahoo, is good enough to join us. It's funny, Ross, I guess your career has pivoted a bit from covering games to covering all the ancillary stuff around college football. Thank you for the time. How are you?
Good, Matt. How are you?
I'm doing well. Okay, let's just start with this news with Junior Tuihalamaka. You see a Notre Dame player committing to LSU, this close proximity to the ruling in Louisiana. Put the pieces of this together for me.
Yeah, well, it shouldn't take a rocket scientist to figure out what sort of happened here. LSU and Lane Kiffin are using a loophole like many other universities have used to create an advantage, right, on their roster and to increase the value of their roster, to improve their roster. So I think LSU I wrote it yesterday at Yahoo Sports, it was behind this Louisiana case where you had several athletes get an injunction from a Louisiana judge to be ruled eligible for a 5th year. And Pyburn certainly was the leading plaintiff, I think, in that case. But there were some others like the Notre Dame defensive end, like you mentioned, Junior. Won't even try to say the last name. I'll butcher it. And then you had 3 Ole Miss players, too, that Lane had previously coached. There you go.
Tuihalamaka.
Then you have three Ole Miss players that at least one, maybe 2 are in the transfer portal now, and Lane obviously coached them. Look, you can hate it, and people do hate it around the country, but what LSU's doing is perfectly legal. What Lane Kiffin is doing is legal. There's a window here. The NCAA decided not to grant athletes a 5th year of eligibility. Those athletes that finish their career this spring, they would be ineligible, or they are ineligible under the old eligibility policy, but eligible under the new 5-year eligibility policy. But the NCAA did not grandfather them in. And when you look back on it, I think a lot of people at the NCAA within college sports probably think now, because of the lawsuits that are mounting and all the losses, that the NCAA probably should have grandfathered all these players in. And because they didn't, you're seeing schools keep roster spots open and support players. And again, it's not just LSU, right? There's been 18, Matt, lawsuits filed in the wake of the NCAA eligibility. 18 lawsuits, over 150 or 200 players involved in those.
Ross Dellenger is with us from Yahoo. Can we go back, Ross, and just in layman's terms, as simplistically as you could possibly explain it, explain what happened with the Colorado judge today?
Yeah. So all the 18 cases I mentioned where athletes have filed for a 5th year of eligibility using the NCAA's new eligibility policy, and the new eligibility policy grants all athletes moving forward 5 playing seasons. The old policy, 4 playing seasons with a 5th redshirt year. And so what happened is most of these cases that I mentioned, the 18, are in state court, like the Louisiana case. But there's one that was filed in federal court in Colorado. And it was a class action lawsuit that granted all of the 2022 high school athlete recruits a 5th year of eligibility. Basically, the court said, NCAA, you've got to grandfather these players in, right? They deserve a 5th season going forward. And it's all these players that are part of the 2022 class that finished their career, the 2022 high school class, that finished their career in 2026 and played 4 seasons. And they're saying they should get a 5th. Now, what happened with that today was a few weeks ago, the Colorado federal judge granted a 5th year to everybody. The problem with that, Matt, is the Colorado judge did not create a new transfer portal and did not create new roster spots for these players. So it made it difficult for these players to be added to rosters or to transfer. Basically, it made it impossible for them unless they entered the transfer portal in January, where they didn't think they'd get another year in January, so they didn't enter the transfer portal. Well, what happened today was the judge, a 3-panel appeals judge panel, stayed the ruling. So it froze the ruling. So all those players that thought they were eligible, even though they couldn't get in the portal and didn't necessarily have roster spots, they still were eligible at their current school, right, where they graduated from or were last year. Well, that is not the case anymore. That ruling is frozen until an appeals process can happen. It does not, this is important, it does not affect all the state court rulings like the Louisiana court case. It does not affect that. So now if a player once the 5th year of eligibility, they've got to go out and they've got to go to their state court and independently sue the NCAA like the Louisiana case. They can't rely on this Colorado federal case any longer.
Ross, do we have a timeline on the appeals process for the Colorado, the class action Colorado case?
Right now, according to the NCAA attorneys I spoke to today, they're planning for the first, I believe, either it's a hearing, Matt, or a brief filing at the end of September. Now, that would be a problem. It's a month in the football season. So what will probably happen is the plaintiffs in the case, the athletes and their attorneys, will move to making a motion to expedite the appeals process, but the judge would have to rule, would have to give them that ability, and we're just not sure if that's the case or not.
How quickly can athletes that thought they had eligibility and now don't file lawsuits in state court?
Immediately, right? They can go immediately. I was on the phone with an athletic director at a Big 12 school, actually, and they said they had 2 football players that were participating in fall camp right now under the Colorado ruling, and they assumed that they would be eligible, and now they're looking at, going to their state court and filing a lawsuit since they're in camp right now. So it's a very kind of a crazy time. Every time we think that things can't get crazier in college sports, they seem to.
Can the NCAA, at this point, is it too late for them to just file a blanket waiver like they did? The comp I've given, Ross, is kind of like COVID. It's just like, okay, blanket waiver, everybody gets that year. Could they do the same at this point with the 2022s?
Well, yeah, you can compare it to COVID, Matt, but even a more similar comparison may be the Diego Pavia case a couple of years ago, where he got the extended eligibility with based on his junior college years, and the NCAA ended up granting a blanket waiver for all those athletes in a similar situated position as Pavia. So it would be something similar. They could do that. They could have done that over the summer. Now, school starting, camp starting, all that stuff. So this would be very difficult, because if you did that, you'd also have to give relief to roster caps and grandfather in players to create roster caps. You'd have to have a new transfer portal window potentially so that players could move around. I do not believe especially after the Colorado decision, which went toward the NCAA's way, I do not believe they'll do that.
There's also the financial component of it as well, because you've got not only roster caps, but I would assume most programs have spent their revenue share cap as well. Yeah,
that's right. Yeah, you have to have enough money in probably through above the cap NIL and all that stuff to make room for these players. Absolutely.
Last thing, best guess, what do you think happens here in the next 10 to 14 days before week 1? I mean, hell, Ross, we're 8 days away from week 0. But what do you think happens between now and week 1?
Well, I think you'll see a lot more state court filings because all the players in the Colorado, the federal case, now may revert to going to state court, because that's where there's been success, right? Of the 18 state court cases filed, Matt, the players have won 11 of them. They've won an injunction or a temporary restraining order in 11. Now, the NCAA is appealing pretty much all those. But that's a pretty good hit rate. The NCAA's really only run one of them. They got to stay in one of them that freezes the injunction, kind of like the federal case. So there'll be a lot more state court ruling or cases filed, and they'll be expedited around the country. And so I'm guessing you'll have dozens, if not hundreds, of college football players join camp within the final few days of camp or preseason practice, and participate and potentially be eligible.
This is so good. This is
For
so
a well-oiled machine, isn't it? Yeah, things are going well.
I love the chaos, Ross, because every bit of chaos, I'm editorializing here, but every bit of chaos just forces us closer and closer to our inevitable end, which is college football is going to operate independently with its own set of rules and independent of the NCAA, and every stupid thing like this just gets us closer to that. YahooSports.com, you go read Ross's piece, follow him at Ross Dellenger. Thank you as always. Appreciate it, man.
Yeah, buddy. Thanks.
All right. It's After Further Review. We're brought to you by Rouse's, the official supermarket of the Saints. The Saints are playing the Rams on Saturday. Ram it. Ram it. All right. I'll stop doing that. But anyway, Saints-Rams. If you're going to be watching the game at your house, throw a little meat on the grill, maybe some chips and dips and maybe something cold to drink. Get it all over at Rouse's. And right now, Rouse's is in the middle of their 4-day sale. Mega super savings on darn near everything. Started yesterday, going through Sunday. Rouse's. Get them by any location. 76 locations from Lake Charles to Orange Beach and points in between. Rouse's.com, Rouse's.com. Rouse's. This feels like home. Friday edition of AFR brought to you by Don Juan Cigar Bar there in Town Center. We are not in studio today. We're at the Golden Nugget in Lake Charles here at the DraftKings Sportsbook. We appreciate so much our friends here at the Golden Nugget for hosting us. Gorgeous facility, and we're thrilled to be here hanging out with you on this Football Friday. All right, let me knock out a break. We'll come back. We will go around the SEC when we return. Other coaches are weighing in, eviscerating courts in the NCAA for what's going on. We'll get to all of that. But I do want to talk a little bit about what Charlie Weiss had to say meeting with reporters today, because yesterday just became an avalanche of the TRO situation. We didn't get to much of what Lane Kiffin said with reporters. So we've got a lot of that as we move throughout our show today, and we're glad to have you hanging out with us here. Stick around. It's a Friday edition of AFR.
AFR.
We're brought to you by River City's 1 Hour Air. Listen, it's Friday approaching 4 o'clock. It's like close to quitting time. Maybe everybody, takes that early lunch on Friday, and then they take it to the house. So your weekend is here, but it's 98 degrees in Lake Charles right now. Heat index, no doubt, in the 110 range. If your AC goes out, you can't be in a situation where you don't have AC in your home for the weekend. Well, call River City's 1 Hour Air. Remember, at River City's 1 Hour Air, they always work nights and weekends and holidays, so you're not going to sleep in a house without any AC tonight. If you have an issue with your AC, call River City's 1 Hour Air. They'll come out today and get you fixed up. 752-0001, 752-0001, 752-0001, or online at onehourbr.com. Spell it out, O-N-E, onehourbr.com. It's River City's 1 Hour Air, where they're always on time or you don't pay a dime.
I'm lawyer Collins Locke Meredith. Among the most important factors to consider when you're hiring an injury attorney is trust. You trust your attorney will put your interest first, treat you with respect, fairness, and honesty. You trust them to be there for you when you need them. At Locke Meredith, Sean Fagan and Associates, thousands of clients have trusted us to represent them, and for good reasons. Please visit us at LockeMeredith.com to learn more, and whether you hire us at all, give us a call at 272-5555. You have nothing to lose.
People ask why I chose to partner with Parrish. The answer is simple: trust. Whether you're choosing teammates, business partners, or the people working on your home or business, choose a company you know and trust. Visit parrishbuilt.com.
Who bears the standard? Who sets the bar? It's not those satisfied by low-hanging fruit or by taking it easy. Now the standard is set by the best of us, by those who work hard. Dig deeper. Give more. At Sunshine, we're proud to provide John Deere products that work hard for you, the standard bearers. Find the dealer nearest you at sunequip.com.
As a business owner, you're always focused on how you can improve the bottom line. Well, when was the last time you shopped your insurance coverage? Insurance Network of Louisiana can help. If you're a business owner, let my friends at Insurance Network of Louisiana see if they can find you better coverage for less money. They always offer exceptional customer service, and partner with only the best providers. So check them out online today at LA Insurance.
Proform Steel, proformla.com. If you're building a metal building, you need Proform Steel. They're the best. Brandon Golson, he's awesome, been in the industry forever. He's actually on the state licensing board, so you're getting a super ethical contractor. And the biggest differentiator, I mean, there's a lot, but the biggest differentiator from Proform Steel, and it doesn't matter if you're building a metal shed in your backyard or your big industrial commercial contract, you need a giant metal building. Lead times is a huge part of it. In many instances, like 6 to 10 weeks faster. And the reason is because they do everything in-house. Everything is fabricated in-house. Their engineers are in-house, so they don't have to call around to get an opinion. Just walk into the office next door. And remember, at Proform Steel, you can get a quote the same day. Go to the website, hit request a quote, top right, proformla.com, and it's free delivery for every building, no exceptions. proformla.com.
After further review with Matt Moscona, presented by Don Juan Cigar Bar.
All right, we're glad you're hanging out with us here. Thanks for being with us on this Friday edition of AFR presented by Don Juan Cigar Bar. We're at the Golden Nugget in Lake Charles here at the DraftKings Sportsbook. And what a day as the news has continued to roll. The judge out in Colorado, a stay of that ruling. It does not affect, however, the individual state ruling. So the 16 players that were granted a TRO in a Louisiana courtroom earlier this week, they still have their eligibility. That means Jack Pyburn could come back to LSU in theory. Any of those Ole Miss players could transfer to LSU. And LSU did pick up a commitment from junior Tuihalamaka, who spent the last 4 years, played in 50 games during his time at Notre Dame. As a matter, he played, 54 games. Let me be specific. 7 starts, 54 games over 10 seasons there at Notre Dame. So you're talking about a guy that would immediately give you a veteran presence at a position where you are thin. We're working on trying to get one of our friends who covers Notre Dame, onto the show to see if they can give us some perspective there on junior Tuihalamaka here on the show today. All right, we're going to what else? I'm sorry. I'm a little scattered. We do have Scott Shanle in 45 minutes. Talk a little bit about the Saints preseason game with the Rams, what to watch. Matt Jacob is going to join us in about an hour from right now. A little sports betting angle, some of his favorite sports bets that involve the New Orleans Saints this year. We'll get to that here as we continue. Right now, though, we do it every day about this time, but Musso will have the honors. Let's go around the SEC.
Around the SEC, bringing you the biggest news from the nation's best conference. The Oklahoma Sooners.
Brent Venables with a major injury update for the Sooners here on Friday. That involves starting center Jake Mikakula. Of course, he suffered a knee injury during the Sooners' first fall camp scrimmage, leaving that spot in major question. The good news, though, is here on Friday, Venables announced that the injury does not appear to be something that will keep him sidelined for long, although he stopped short of an exact timeline, just saying it's, quote, a short-term injury. Mikula played in 11 games, made 10 starts at Sooners last season, was Oklahoma's second highest graded offensive lineman per Pro Football Focus. OU opens the season against UTEP on Friday, September 4th, for that marquee matchup week 2 in Ann Arbor against Michigan.
The Mississippi State Bulldogs.
Mississippi State offensive lineman Mario Nash Jr. is no longer on Mississippi State football team. That was first reported by Steve Robertson over there at Gene's Pages. Nash was a member of the Bulldogs 2026 transfer class. He came from Florida State. He was not an expected starter. This deals with the TROs and the eligibility. The Bulldogs were in need of roster space in their attempt to add both Malik Sela and Jahan Manning. That process, of course, now is complicated by the ruling out of Colorado today. Both those guys were back with Mississippi State, and Mario Nash had to hit the bricks because of it.
The Missouri Tigers.
Well, basketball note here. You guessed it, dealing with 5 years of eligibility. Missouri's Mark Mitchell has officially entered the NCAA transfer portal with a do not contact tag. He was granted an injunction in a Kentucky court out of Louisville, so now he has a 5th year. Thought to be a heavy Kentucky lean this past season with Mizzou, 18 points, 5 boards, and 3 assists per game. We'll keep you posted there if he does indeed pick Bulldogs.
The Mississippi State
Or
Bulldogs.
excuse me, the Wildcats. One more here at Mississippi State. This one, basketball. Another player no longer with the team. That's Kostas Kostanov. He was an international prospect with the Bulldogs this past summer. Going to be a part of the team this year, but not anymore. 6'10" big man. Had been playing professional basketball over in Spain since 2017. Averaged 4-2 in his most recent season over there with the Spaniards, but now no longer with Mississippi State's team. That's around the SEC.
Presented by South Point Volkswagen and SouthPointVW.com. New and certified pre-owned in Baton Rouge and online at SouthPointVW.com. SouthPointVW.com. If you're in the market for a new vehicle, just put Volkswagen on your list. And when you put Volkswagen on your list, make sure you go see our friends at South Point Volkswagen. They are Louisiana's largest volume Volkswagen dealer. Right there on Airline, just north of Highland. SouthPointVW.com is where you can shop them online. If it's on the lot, it's online at SouthPointVW.com. SouthPointVW.com for South Point Volkswagen. Hopped in my Volkswagen Atlas Cross Sport earlier today. Drove over here to Lake Charles. All the technology, the lane assist, the alerts keep you between the lanes and alert as you're going on a long drive. All the technology, the navigation, everything you need. The beautiful sunroof, the panoramic sunroof, gorgeous. All the different great German engineering, the awesome technology, the high IIHS top safety features, affordability, fun to drive. It's all there in the Volkswagen line. SouthPointVW.com. SouthPointVW.com. South Point Volkswagen. What's your direction? Okay, it's After Further Review. Thanks for hanging out with us here. One other thing that is notable here today, College Game Day did make it official. This is one of the most obvious things that was ever going to happen on the face of planet Earth. College Game Day did announce today, you might have seen earlier, they will head to Oxford for Week 3 when Lane Kiffin makes his return to Oxford when LSU plays Ole Miss in Week 3. So College Game Day will feature an LSU football game 2 of the first 3 weeks. We know Game Day will be in Baton Rouge for LSU Clemson 2 weeks from Saturday. They'll be in Austin for Texas Ohio State Week 2, and then in Oxford for LSU and Ole Miss Week 3. My sincere hope is that the LSU cooperates. You take care of business against Clemson and Louisiana Tech. If Ole Miss beats Louisville in whatever body bag game they're going to play in Week 2, they'll be 2-0. You'll have a couple of teams very likely ranked in the top 10, and it'll be a fever pitch in Oxford there in the Grove and at Vaught Hemingway Stadium on September the 19th. College Game Day will be part of it. All right, it's After Further Review. Thanks for hanging out with us here. Let me knock out a quick break. We'll come back and we'll wrap up hour number 1. A ton going on today involving LSU and the world of college football. And the New Orleans Saints are getting ready for their second preseason game on Saturday against the Los Angeles Rams out at SoFi. So we'll give you a preview of that as we move throughout the show as well. Stay with us here. It's AFR.
After Further Review.
You know, whenever it's 98 degrees with a heat index of, 110, the only way to actually exist outside is if you're in a pool. Like, you can't just go sit outside and melt into whatever chair that you're sitting in. But you go jump in a pool and cool off and enjoy a cool beverage in hand, I'm going to tell you, few better ways to spend those hot Saturdays and weekends or any day. And our friends over at Duplessis Pools can make that a reality. They do it for Louisianians every single day. DuplessisPools.com, DuplessisPools.com. DuplessisPools.com. Go to the website. Been telling you about their new 3D modeling. When you pick a pool on the home page, go to the Pick Your Pool tab, choose your pool, start choosing your features. It will build the pool in 3D real time and give you a price adjustment as well. It's such a cool feature. Check it out at DuplessisPools.com. Online, DuplessisPools.com.
When a capital project moves from planning to execution, downtime isn't an option. Who do you trust to deliver? River Parish Contractors has more than 500 employees, dedicated safety, quality, and project management teams, and 9 full-time estimators backed by a 36,000 square foot automated pipe and structural steel fabrication facility. We can deliver multi-million-dollar industrial construction projects on time and safely, locally owned and headquartered in South Louisiana. We're River Parish Contractors, and we're built for bigger challenges.
Community sailing is all about getting people in the New Orleans area out on boats, out on Lake Pontchartrain. Gulf Coast Bank helps us provide opportunities to get folks out who might not otherwise have the financial means to come sailing. Auctions in August is an online fundraiser that helps nonprofits like us service the community. Bidding through Auctions in August is a lot of fun because there's so many different items. There's something for everyone, so you're sure to find something that relates directly to you that you'll enjoy bidding on, and you get to help out the community.
Are you ready for an internet experience that actually keeps up with you? Then you're ready to step into a new kind of reliability with Rev Fiber. When your internet works, the possibilities open up, and suddenly everything feels more connected, just the way it should be. Seamless enough to keep up with every swipe and every click, anywhere you are. So leave the buffering behind. 100% fiber, 0% runaround, where support is still personal. Rev Fiber. Visit revfiber.com.
People think it's all about game day, but the real work happens in the off season. And we need a healthcare team that works as hard as we do.
At FMOL Health, our lay of the lake, we take care of LSU football year-round.
We trust the lake.
Natural gas from Atmos Energy is a gentle warmth that starts your day. The blue flame that turns simple ingredients into traditions, and the comfort of a shower that never gets cold. Natural gas is the energy that brings your home to life by fueling backyard fun, cozy moments, and bringing people together. Natural gas fuels the moments that make a house a home. Atmos Energy, your natural gas company.
Hey, it's Matt Moscona inviting you to join us this Wednesday for AFR from Marucci's Hitter's House on Segan Lane in Baton Rouge. Come take some hacks in the cages with the best bats in the world, the official bat of Major League Baseball. It's at Marucci's Hitter's House in Baton Rouge.
Looking for the ultimate game day?
After further review with Matt Moscona, presented by Don Juan Cigar Bar.
Wrapping up hour number one. Glad you're hanging out with us here from the DraftKings Sportsbook at the Golden Nugget in Lake Charles on a pretty crazy day. If you missed it, LSU football got a commitment from a former Notre Dame defensive lineman, junior Tuihalamaka, played 54 games over 4 seasons in South Bend. He was part of the TRO in Louisiana. So just to be abundantly clear, and I'm glad Ross Dellenger said it because I can allude to it. It's hard to get people to say things on the record, and I don't know that anyone at LSU is going to say this on the record. But it should feel very obvious right now. I think the way Ross said it is you don't have to be a rocket scientist. LSU orchestrated this. LSU knew what student athletes they might be interested in adding. They certainly approached these student athletes to gauge their interest in being involved in this TRO. They had the attorneys file the suit in Louisiana court to get the favorable ruling. So the fact that a Notre Dame a week ago, when I asked Lane Kiffin the question about the 2022 class and what they were going through, because it felt like a mind-blowing process. There were over 2,000 athletes in the class of 2022 that had a grade from rivals. That's just the ones that had a grade. That's not counting the ones that didn't have a grade coming out of high school, that went to lower levels and advanced, moved, transferred, whatever. And I asked so many people over the previous 2-3 weeks in and around the LSU program about this. Are you actually pursuing since that Colorado judge's ruling, are you pursuing 2022 people? How many roster spots do you have? Which players might be able to come back? Are you actually vetting 2,000 players, et cetera? And I would always just get this sort of stonewalled answer. And Lane Kiffin said the same thing when I asked him a week ago at his press conference. And he's like, we basically have a plan for everything, is effectively all that he said. Well, it's very clear they had a plan. And He wasn't trying to tell me nothing on the record, and nobody was apparently willing to say anything off the record as well. But what you saw in that ruling with the TRO meant this was all going to be an inevitability. It's why yesterday when we talked about Jack Pyburn, my feeling is, yeah, Jack Pyburn's going to play for LSU against Clemson. Now, could the NCAA most certainly will file an appeal in Louisiana State Court to try to get that TRO overturned, but they're going to go file an appeal to the same judge that granted it. And I would assume that LSU was very specific in picking the judge they did to file because they were going to get a sympathetic ruling. No different than that judge who granted Trinidad Chambliss his injunction was sympathetic, like crying while reading the ruling. I mean, they know what they're doing. And you can hate it, and I don't blame you. Like, my feeling on this, y'all know my feeling on this. There has been no ambiguity whatsoever with how I feel about this. You want to stop all this? It's easy. At LSU, Wade Roos and Verge Osbury and Lane Kiffin, they could stop it because they could tell these players, nope, NCAA said you're not eligible, you're ineligible. They're not doing it. This individual case, though, is the first time I've had a modicum of sympathy for the student athlete because the 2022, this is a very specific subset of student athlete that got caught in between a rock and a hard place with the NCAA's ruling. The NCAA approves 5 for 5, and all the 2022 players that took a red shirt are still eligible. And it would have applied to these guys had they known when their career ended, you have an option. But they didn't. So it's not like Charles Bediako or R.J. Lewis. Let me use a guy who's committed to LSU, or LSU's trying to get eligible. I don't think R.J. Lewis should play at LSU. I don't think he should ever play college basketball or college athletics again. R.J. Lewis had eligibility. He left. And now is trying to come back. I'm not good with that. I hope Greg Sankey gets his way, and the judge does not let R.J. Lewis play for LSU. Now, nobody at LSU likes me saying that. I don't really give a rip. I have more sympathy for the 2022, not just football, the class of 2022 student athletes who played their 4 years of eligibility over 4 seasons and were told you're out of eligibility, and so they move on with their life, and then it's like, oh, wait, actually, you do have eligibility. The NCAA, I think, mismanaged this. I think just like the COVID year, they should have provided a blanket waiver for the class of 2022 only. This is not something that would exist in perpetuity. It's literally just this very small select group of student athletes who signed in the class of 2022, never redshirted, played 4 years. There's even guys in the 2022 class. Kelvin Banks is a great example of this. Kelvin Banks was a guy who signed in 2022, played 3 years, off to the NFL. He ain't coming back. So you're talking about a very specific subset of 1 year of a recruiting class that you could provide a waiver to allow them this last year of eligibility under the new rule the NCAA has passed, and this all goes away. Instead, the NCAA is continuing to try to swim upstream with this, and you're just going to see mountains of lawsuits. And Ross Dellenger told us it's right now 18 cases involving more than 200 athletes. So there are those trying to paint this as LSU, Lane Kiffin, villain. And again, you don't have to like it. You don't have to want any of these guys to end up playing football at LSU this year. If that's your opinion, okay. Like, I'm not telling you you're wrong. I mean, there's a very logical explanation to say why you're not okay with Jack Pyburn playing in a preseason game for the Bucs on Saturday and then 2 weeks later playing against Clemson. If you're not good with that, okay. Like, I'm not saying you're wrong. Like, I get it. That's a strongly held position that I've had for a long time. This is a unique situation, in the literal sense unique, because it just affects this small subset. But what I don't like is how this is being painted as it's just LSU, because it's 18 cases involving 200 athletes. So it's happening all over the country, and there's going to be more. And going to a state court to find a sympathetic judge is quite literally the same thing that Diego Pavia did in his case against the NCAA for his eligibility, that Trinidad Chambliss did. It's what all of these student athletes have done. They have filed not in federal court, but in state court with a sympathetic judge. And the athletes have had far more success in state court than in federal court, where the NCAA is batting about 500 in these appeals. So, I don't know definitively what's going to happen here, but I find it hard to believe that the Louisiana judge is going to rule against himself in an appeal. So I think junior Tuihalamaka is going to play for LSU against Clemson, and I think Jack Pyburn is going to play for LSU against Clemson. And there may be more, because LSU clearly filed that. LSU guided those student athletes to file that lawsuit very intentionally with the hand-picked players that were in that lawsuit, and many of them will have an opportunity, or some of them will have the opportunity to play at LSU, and we'll see which ones do. Right now, there's one, junior Tuihalamaka, and I do think there will be more. Now, what does that mean for money, and what does it mean for roster spots and all that? I don't know. I don't have a great answer for you. But we'll continue to dig and pry and see what we can find out, and we'll talk about it here as we move throughout the show. Okay, it's After Further Review. We're glad you're hanging out with us here on this Friday edition of AFR, presented by Don Juan Cigar Bar. Always love telling you about Arco Power Systems, ARCCO, arco.com, arco.com, arco.com. It's Arco Power Systems, industrial Generac generator power. You know when the power goes out, you have a home standby generator. What about your business? That's what Arco does. Industrial Generac generator power. So when the power goes out, your business stays online. Industrial Generac generator power from Arco. ARCCO. Arco.com, arco.com, arco.com. It's Arco Power Systems, arco.com. Okay, y'all, it's After Further Review. Friday's AFR brought to you by Don Juan Cigar Bar. Let me knock out
After Further Review.
Come back. We'll let you hear from Lane Kiffin next. If you're thinking of buying land, your first call should be to First South Farm Credit. FirstSouthFarmCredit.com. 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 You know, it's interesting. I'm talking right now about, like, we do the Clegg's Library, and I get to talk about how they have all the things, the buckbusters and all that for your plots, for your hunting property, you know, for all your deer hunters. Well, like, for a lot of people, they're gearing up for deer season, and you're going to be hunting on a lease on someone else's property. Well, what if next year you're hunting on your own property? What if that's a dream that you've always had? Well, if it is, let First South Farm Credit help make that dream your reality. Log on to FirstSouthFarmCredit.com, FirstSouthFarmCredit.com. That's where you should start. They have the comprehensive land buyer's guide, if you're interested, the recreational land buyer's guide. It's the ultimate recreational land buyer's guide right there on the homepage. It's a free resource at FirstSouthFarmCredit.com. Start there today and make your dream of owning land a reality.
Raising Cane's Texas Toast is a thick slice of bread, garlic buttered spread, grilled to golden perfection, and made to order just for you. Because when you make it right, you can taste it in every bite. Raising Cane's Chicken Fingers. One love.
Jordan Faber here with some exciting news. Faber Automotive has officially arrived. We're proud to introduce your new hometown dealership, Faber Chevrolet GMC. That means more inventory, better deals, and the same great local team. Now backed by the trusted Faber family name. Whether you're shopping or servicing, you'll feel the difference from day one. Allow us the opportunity to earn your business.
Fabry Chevrolet GMC. Visit us in St. Francisville or online at FabryChevrolet.com.
Who bears the standard? Who sets the bar? It's not those satisfied by low-hanging fruit or by taking it easy. Now the standard is set by the best of us, by those who work hard. Dig deeper. Give more. At Sunshine, we're proud to provide John Deere products that work hard for you, the standard bearers. Find the dealer nearest you at sunequip.com.
Hi, I'm Mitchell Meredith. At Locke Meredith, Sean Fagan & Associates, we know each case and client are unique, and that no two cases are the same. But one thing remains constant, and that is our passion to help our clients. After an accident, we know your life has changed, which is why we passionately fight to make you and your family whole. Remember, whether you hire us at all, give us a call at 272-5555. We're here to serve you.
Eagle 98.1, the rock station. Home of the Woody Show in the morning. Scotty Mack with Rock at Work. Michelle Southern with Southern Rock. Home of LSU sports since 1998. And rock for Baton Rouge since 1985. Take us anywhere with the Eagle 98.1 app. To join our VIP fan club, text ROCK to 225-499-9898. Eagle 98.1, the rock station.
At Relief Windows, we're more than windows. We're windows, doors, hardy plank, and vinyl siding. But our number one product's always customer satisfaction. Come visit us at reliefwindows.com. By the way, we do shutters too.
Looking for cleaner energy? Propane is energy for everyone. Propane water heaters are very cost efficient. And the savings are even greater with a tankless propane water heater. We all know that Louisiana propane is a safe and environmentally friendly fuel.
I'm Christine Lisi. The Heat is set to add a four-time NBA champion as it seeks to build a contender around Giannis Antetokounmpo and Bam Adebayo. Klay Thompson is expected to sign with the Heat after clearing waivers following his buyout from the Mavericks. Thompson initiated the buyout after telling Dallas he wanted to play for a contender. He does fill a Miami need for perimeter shooting. Despite saying the Raiders' starting quarterback job is Kirk Cousins to lose, Coach Clint Kubiak not ready to name him QB1 for Week 1, so the competition between Cousins and rookie Fernando Mendoza goes on for another week. Three-time Super Bowl champion Mark Schlereth.
There is value in learning how to prepare week in, week out, what's important, and I know Kirk is such a stickler for having everything. He won't wear a wristband because he wants to be able to regurgitate and memorize everything. Like, he is a true pro. So I think there's some value in that. I think, you know, having Kirk Cousins play the first 5 or 6 games of the season, whatever it is, and then moving on to Mendoza, I think that makes sense.
Mark Schlereth on The Rich Eisen Show. MLB leading Brewers lead the Braves 2-0 top 4. Jacob Mizrowski and Chris Sale on the hill.
If you run a small business, you've got to try Gusto. Get unlimited payroll runs and get your payroll taxes filed automatically. Offer health insurance, 401k, and more. Get started for free at gusto.com.
Matt Moscona.
I'm very important.
After further review.
Say it one more time.
After further review with Matt Moscona.
And here we go.
Live from the Raising Cane studio.
Let's ride!
Hour 2, off we go. Welcome aboard. Glad you're with us. It is AFR, presented by Don Juan Cigar Bar. We are not in the Raising Cane studio. We are actually at the DraftKings Sportsbook here at the Golden Nugget in Lake Charles. We appreciate our friends here for hosting us. Just low-key, if you have not been here to the Golden Nugget in Lake Charles, like, plan a trip for some reason. Hang out by the pool. Pool is fire. They got great restaurants in here. This DraftKings Sportsbook is amazing. Like, spend a day here in Southwest Louisiana. Awesome spot. We're so grateful for the partnership and our friends here at the Golden Nugget in Lake Charles. Okay, Bryan Driskell from Irish Illustrated is going to join us in about a little more than an hour. We're going to talk to you about Junior Tuihalamaka, the defensive end that has committed to LSU today. If you haven't heard that story, this broke within the last hour. His agent confirmed it. He was part of the Louisiana TRO lawsuit. He's now committed to LSU. I think that, look, one of my favorite sayings, y'all know it, actions speak louder than words. Watch what people do. Don't listen to what they say. And sometimes, like, it's very obvious. And when you had Junior Tuihalamaka in this lawsuit and Jack Pyburn, and we've talked about it as well, it illustrates where they see a need. And, you know, one of my takeaways coming out of this fall camp is like we can be really excited about the ceiling for this defensive line and what some of these players can and eventually will be. But it is also very fair to mention right now that you do not have a lot of skins on the wall. You know, Lane Kiffin was asked on Thursday specifically about Dominic McKinley and Tuihalamaka Green. Now, I know we're talking about an edge with junior Tuihalamaka from Notre Dame, and these are tackles, but this is what Lane said when he was asked about McKinley and Tuihalamaka Green.
Dom's had a really good camp. Really kind of challenged him at spring. Didn't tell you what I told him, didn't really have a good spring, in my opinion, of what he should for his size and his ability, and really has stepped up, especially in the last probably week and a half. And it's been great to see. He's run with our ones and done a really good job. Steph has battled some injuries, which he's done a lot in his career. So he's flashed, but we've told him that we need more consistency, and now as he's getting healthy, we'd expect that.
Okay, like Lane Kiffin said point blank, they told Don McKinley he wasn't good enough in the spring. Tuihalamaka Green has battled injuries. They need him to be more consistent. Like, when I've said it over and over, like, you can be so fired up about Geralds and Anderson at tackle, and I am. I think they're going to be awesome players. But you keep hearing people say, man, you're set for the next 3 years. Yeah, but you're also starting 2 true freshmen because you don't have veterans that are capable of beating out those freshmen right now. So look at the edge position, where you've got Prince Wiluman-Mielen, preseason first-team All-SEC, number 1 edge in the portal, led Ole Miss last year in sacks, TFLs, 5th-year player, tons of experience, check. He checks every box. On the other side, you got Jordan Ross, who hasn't started a game in 2 years. And then after that, you lose Gabe Relaford, Damian Shanklin's not there anymore, so you're talking about Dylan Carpenter, who's been a rotational backup for 3 years, and Lamar Brown, who's a true freshman. Now, I'm fired up about Lamar Brown. I think he's going to be a 15-year NFL vet when the time comes, but he's a freshman. When you go and add a guy that's played 4 seasons of college football with 54 career games played, 7 starts, that gives you a grown-ass man who's played a lot of college football, who gives you a veteran presence in that group who's played a ton of football where you don't have that right now. So, yes, that makes an awful lot of sense. It's also why, you'd love to add Jack Pyburn as well, because Wiluman-Mielen and Ross, in some respects, y'all, are the same guy. They're like the boundary edge, the ones that are the edge rushers. They're not field edges that can help you against the run. That's not really their role. They're the get up field and attack the quarterback and make plays in space. Pyburn, his PFF grade last year against the run was an 85. It's funny to me, a lot of people said I wasn't impressed with Pyburn. It's because the sack numbers weren't there, but they didn't ask him to do that last year. Would have loved to have seen that bigger. Jack also everybody deals with injuries, but Jack Pyburn was dealing with injuries. I don't know if you saw, but he committed to playing in the Senior Bowl and then didn't play in the Senior Bowl and then didn't work out at the Combine. Why do you think that is? Guy was battling injuries. So it, of course, was going to limit his productivity at LSU also. All that to say, it's clear where, it's so rare, maybe not just rare, literally altogether unique, that you can go through fall camp. You can go through fall camp, identify your weaknesses after fall camp, and then add veteran players who played 4 years of college football at positions of weakness. That's literally what is happening right now with guys like that. Now, the other point is on the offensive line, where Lane Kiffin on Thursday was at, your first 5, I think we know are set right now. Left to right, it's Seton, Bordelon, Braylon Moore, Aluba, and then Weston Davis. That's your starting 5. And by the way, look at your interior linemen. Braylon Moore, 5th-year senior. Aluba, 5th-year senior. Bo Bordelon, 5th-year senior. Old veteran players in the middle. Jordan Seton might very well be a top 10 pick. Weston Davis, former 5-star, has not played well during his career, but has played a lot. You need to be much better there. But what about after that? What about your depth? You know the word Lane Kiffin used to describe the offensive line depth? Listen.
It's a concern and something that, is high high on our list of concerns right now. And so we've got to continue to, get guys better. They got to improve, and so that we feel more confident with that. I mean, I guess before yesterday, normally we'd say our team is our team, and so it's what we got. But I guess that potentially changes yesterday. But other than that, we got to get the guys better.
Is there an offensive lineman among those 16 players in Louisiana that got the TRO? Could LSU be looking to add a veteran lineman? I don't know. Listen, one of the things that I would compliment Lane Kiffin on is when they went into the portal, they had a decision to make about the offensive line. And you had a bunch of dudes that had played a lot of football. You had Tyree Adams and DJ Chester and Cohen Eccles and Paul Mabenga and all the guys we've talked about a bunch. Ori Williams, guys that had played a lot of football. They just hadn't played well. And so the staff comes in and they look at this and they go, okay, do we retain these guys that have played a lot but haven't played well in hopes that they get better, or do we go remake the room? And they decided to blow it up and remake the room. And so it's interesting to me, and I think telling, that after blowing up that room, 3 of your starters right now are guys they retained. Which means the guys that you went and got weren't good enough to beat out Bo Bordelon or Weston Davis, which I think is disappointing for someone like Devin Harper, who, listen, I don't cover Ole Miss, but everyone I know that does said Devin Harper was going to be the starting right tackle at Ole Miss this year, and he hasn't won a job. You look at a guy like William Satterwhite, who we've seen come in 2 years at Tennessee. We've seen him play center, right tackle, left guard. They're moving him all around, trying to find that spot. I think that's what Lane Kiffin's speaking to. They went out, remade that room, and they're hoping that their depth is better. The thing that gives me encouragement is I believe in Eric Wolford and James Craig. When we go out there, we get to see, and they are much more physical at practice. I think that unit is going to be more physical than the unit a year ago. And that's going to make them better. How much better, I don't know. But you really got to stay healthy, because I think the first five is going to be a really good unit. But Lane's saying there, the depth after those first five right now is a concern. How much better can they get? Time will tell. And maybe here in the next 10 to 14 days, it could add another body. We'll see. Okay, it's After Further Review. Thanks for hanging out with us here on this Friday edition of AFR, presented by Don Juan Cigar Bar. We're at the DraftKings Sportsbook in Lake Charles at the Golden Nugget. Love telling you about Evermore. Before I left Baton Rouge today, I made sure I grabbed my 64-ounce bottle of Evermore. I got work to do. I'm only about 12 ounces down on this thing. But I grabbed my 64-ounce bottle of Evermore because I drink Evermore every single day. Stay hydrated, y'all, especially with this heat the way it is. Pop into great local retailers. You'll find Evermore. You can find it near you. Go to the website, type in your zip code, the store locator function. It'll tell you the Evermore, the location near you where you can buy Evermore, or you can buy it online at evermore.com, EVAMOR, evermore.com. Okay, y'all, it's After Further Review. We're glad you're with us. We are going to knock out a quick break. I think we did add our buddy Bryan Driskell is going to join us in hour 3 to talk about junior Tuihalamaka. When we come back, we'll shift gears briefly. Scott Shanle is going to jump aboard with us. Saints are going to play the Rams on Saturday, the second preseason game here this preseason for the Hoodats. What are we keeping an eye on? We'll ask Shanle when we continue. Stay here. It's AFR.
AFR.
Love telling you about our friends over at Darren James and Associates, brokered by LPT Realty, because I love telling you about someone who gives exceptional customer service. I recently had a friend who was listing their home, and they had already hired a realtor, but they had a question about comps and property values. The realtor they hired wasn't really familiar with, because that realtor is based in a different market than the locale that they're selling in. So they called Darren James, and Darren spent 2 hours with my friend going through comps and pricing and all this stuff, knowing full well they already have a realtor and he's not getting the listing. But that's just Darren. That's the level of customer service that Darren James provides. It's not a liner. It's not cliche. He loves helping people. He loves what he does. That shines through everything he does, and it's why he gets results. So if you need to sell your home, call Darren James and get your home sold.
Think real estate, think Darren James.
People ask why I chose to partner with Parrish. The answer is simple: trust. Whether you're choosing teammates, business partners, or the people working on your home or business. Choose a company you know and trust. Visit parishbuilt.com.
People think it's all about game day, but the real work happens in the off season. And we need a healthcare team that works as hard as we do.
At FML Health, our lay of the lake, we take care of LSU football year-round.
We trust the lake.
Sometimes you ignore the signs, even when they're right in front of you. Problem gambling isn't always easy to spot. Know the signs. Set your limit. Learn more about healthy gambling habits by visiting us online or text or call for free confidential help now.
Shout out to our friends over at River Parish Contractors, rpcontractors.com. Whether you need that industrial construction job or you're looking for work, you want River Parish Contractors, rpcontractors.com, rpcontractors.com. A record-setting Q1. I was talking to my buddy Ronnie. A record-setting Q1, record-setting Q2. They're pacing for a record-setting Q3, which means they got a ton of work, and they need you. They're hiring heavy equipment operators for jobs in Geismar and Norco. Right now, over at River Parish Contractors, they are looking for iron workers, pipe fitters, crane operators for a job in Geismar as well. Y'all, they got jobs on both sides of the river. You'll be home with your family every night. They got as much overtime as you want to work. Day shift, night shift. You got to call today. Call Big Jake, 318-547-1000, 318-547-1000 at River Parish Contractors.
After further review with Matt Moscona, presented by Don Juan Cigar Bar.
Have you decided who will start Saturday?
Still talking through that. Yep.
Zach went today. Is starting?
Yeah, it could be. Yeah, we'll work through that. Both those guys are playing some good ball.
Kellen Moore asked what quarterback was going to start preseason game number 2. Non-committal there. Let's see if Scott Shanle has an idea. Former Saint linebacker, Super Bowl champion, good enough to spend a couple minutes with us here. Hey, Scott, thanks as always, man. How are you?
Hey, I'm doing good.
Thought who you'd like to see start preseason game number 2 at quarterback?
I think, after the first game, I think you got to go with Zach Wilson. I think he looked the most consistent, the most playmaking. And I think, with only 3 preseason games, usually the guys who are going to make the roster don't usually play much in the third game. I think you gave Spencer the first start. I think you give Zach this start. You got to, I think when you look at the quarterback situation, this happened to the Raiders when they're trying to look at Mendoza. The first preseason game, he's playing with the 2. So you want to see these guys play with, the 2s and 3s and see how they respond. But I think Zach's probably earned the right to start this game.
Does it really, I hate to say does it matter? I mean, I think everything matters to a degree, but how much does it matter who starts at quarterback or relative to whatever, how many reps they get in the game?
Well, I think, this day and age, I think it does matter with the backup quarterback position. You see a lot of these guys, you see a lot of teams every offseason when free agency strikes. These teams are fighting and paying a lot of money to back up quarterbacks because you lose your starting quarterback. You have to have a guy who can come in and just manage the ship, manage the game is at minimum what you want from your backup quarterback. And I think the reason I feel like the organization is trending more towards Zach being the backup right now after that first preseason game is because this is no slight against Spencer. Spencer's had a lot of opportunities to play. He's had a lot of starts for being a fifth-round pick so far, but you never really see those highs that you want to see out of the starting caliber or even a good backup quarterback. I think he's midline and then he makes a mistake. He's midline and he makes a mistake. So I think this organization really is trying to find a serviceable backup behind Chuck.
Scott, what is a veteran's mindset going into the second preseason game? I suppose it's different based on where your stat is on the roster, but for the guys that are expected to play against the Rams, where are they with 2 preseason games to go?
Yeah, it used to be 4 preseason games, and it was kind of all the starters. Game 2 was always kind of the dress rehearsal for the season, and then by the time you got to the 4th preseason game, it was really just all the backups, guys trying to make a roster and putting out film for other teams across the leagues or trying to make practice squads. So I think the way camp is now, you get that first preseason game. Maybe a lot of teams in the second preseason game will play some more starters, but by the 3rd preseason game anymore, nobody's playing any starters. So you have a limited opportunities, and these preseason games anymore, they're not for I don't even know if guys knock rust off anymore with how little they play if you're a starter. These games are really for guys trying to find a way to make the roster, show a team that they can be a solid backup on their team, or if you have position battles. I think the other thing you use 1 or 2 preseason games for is position battles, because you got to get looks at guys outside of practice and see who. Some guys are just gamers. Some guys play better when the lights are on, so you got to find that out as well.
Did you like playing preseason games?
I think a couple preseason games is fine because, like I said, you knock some of that rust off as a veteran player and you get ready. But the speed of the game is not what it is during the regular season game. You're trying to get yourself in that mindset of playing a regular season game. But it beats practicing against each other for a month. Even these inter-squad practices are almost like preseason games that a lot of fans just don't get to see unless they actually go attend. So I think you need some of it. I think it's a little bit of a dress rehearsal for the real thing.
Former Saint linebacker Scott Shanle, good enough to spend a couple minutes with us here on the show. You mentioned position battles. Any position battles in particular you're interested in keeping an eye on Saturday?
Yeah, I think when you look at really on this team, the injury bug has bitten lately. So there's going to be guys, Jordan Tyson going down, Kamara going down. There are going to be guys who make the team as a running back or a wide receiver, at least for the first month of the season while these guys get healthy. So guys are playing for roster spots. But I think, to me, probably maybe a little bit biased with being a linebacker. I'm kind of watching the Pete Warner, Danny Stutzman, seeing how they utilize these linebackers. Anytime you lose a guy like DeMario Davis, and you bring Caden Elsack, and I think that was a great signing. I think it was one of the most underrated signings of the offseason because he's a guy who grew up in the organization and knows exactly what the organization expects. I think it'll be a seamless transition for him to step in for DeMario. And I think just finding out the rotation they're going to use at these inside linebacker spots, to me, is kind of one of the intriguing things I've been watching throughout the preseason.
You know, Scott, I'm trying not to overreact to the injuries, but I'm admittedly completely overreacting to the injuries. Where do you see all these guys going down? Unfortunately, Brzee for the season, Dylan Radins for the season, Tyson for 2 months, Kamara for a month. What do you think when you see all these injuries in camp?
Well, I think it's a combination, and I think anytime you ask old guys, what it is, I don't think the players are getting bigger, faster, stronger. I do think that, but I also think there's something to not having the OTAs and the off-season practices as many as we used to have, and then having real training camp. There's an acclimation period to these guys' bodies. They have to hit. They have to get after each other. They have to lean on each other. And a lot of these teams, just because of the way the CBA has been negotiated, there's not a whole lot of contact going on anymore. And guys, when they get into, you look at all these injuries, most of these injuries are happening when they get out of their comfort zone and you can't brother-in-law it against your own teammate. They're going on inter-squad practices. Now you have to amp it up because nobody wants to look bad. Or you go to preseason games where you're playing at game speed, and that's where all these injuries are happening. I just think the players' bodies are not getting acclimated enough to game speed and the physicality of the game before those plays happen. And it's frustrating. It really is.
Former Saint linebacker Scott Shanle is with us. We talked about some of the position battles there. Is there anything else, Scott, in week 2? Understand, I know you played in there with 4 preseason games. There's 3, so we're at the halfway point. Is there anything else, aside from like just a position battle, that you think is worth the listener keeping an eye on when they watch the game tomorrow?
Well, I think we probably hit the most intriguing parts of this team. Most of the roster spots, the starting spots on this team, I think most Saints fans can kind of pencil in who they believe are going to be the starters. So I think when you look at the backup quarterback position, it is still playing out. I think after this game, they'll probably have an idea of exactly who they're penciling in at number 2. The inside linebacker position with Warner and Stutzman, how that's going to play out, how that rotation is going to work again. And then you just want to continue to see a young secondary. Last year, a young secondary continued to emerge, and those young guys continue to make plays. Because to me, you look at the back half of last year, Shuck was obviously the storyline. Came in, made some great plays, played confident, but the defense played as good as any team in the league after the Carolina game. So can the defense continue to kind of carry that torch and help this offense get acclimated? Because a lot of those injuries, besides Breezy, which is a huge loss, are happening on the offensive side of the ball. So the defense is always ahead of the offense, so you need this defense to be ahead of the offense by the time game 1 rolls around, because there's 2 tough games out the gate.
Yeah. Last thing for you, Scott, your time very much appreciated. If I asked you right now at this point in camp, another week of the preseason after Saturday, what's the biggest concern on this team? What would you say?
Biggest concern is I just think there's a lot of great pieces, and I think the Saints are kind of the storyline when you look at the national media. Everybody expects this team to compete for the NFC South based on the way they finished last year. To me, is how do you play now that there's expectations back? I think there's expectations back on Shuck. Can you be the same player and better than you were at the end of last year? Chase Young, can you stay healthy and continue to be that defensive player that a lot of people think can be the NFL Defensive Player of the Year type candidate? It's about staying hungry, and I think it's been a while since the national media and the national landscape has been hyped up about what the New Orleans Saints football team can bring. And can you keep that chip on your shoulder, because you haven't won anything yet, and you may not start the season 2-0. You start with 2 tough games, so can you stay hungry and stay motivated when everybody's telling you it's your time to shine?
He is Scott Shanle, former Saint linebacker, going to spend a couple of minutes with us here. Scott, we always appreciate the time, man. Thank you.
Yep, no problem.
It's our pleasure. It's After Further Review. We're brought to you by Lee Michaels Fine Jewelry. Remember, at Lee Michaels, they will never sell you a man-made or a lab diamond. I mean, what are you – like? It's a technology play. Like, what are you actually getting? I mean, there's actually any value in that. When you go to Lee Michaels, you are only going to buy one of the most beautiful natural diamonds in the world. Mr. Scott goes on these diamond buying trips to India to bring the absolute best product back here to Louisiana. And because they're buying for 9 stores, they have great buying power. So they're going to be able to get you not only a great selection, but also a great price. And I always say at Lee Michaels, if they don't have what you want, they'll find it. If they can't find it, they'll make it. It's Lee Michaels Fine Jewelry. 9 locations in all. Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Lafayette, Shreveport, and online at lmfj.com. lmfj.com for Lee Michaels Fine Jewelry. I am going to give you, before we get out of here today, actually coming up in the 3rd hour, my what to watch for the Saints and Rams, the things that I'm going to be keeping an eye on. It is really... But just candidly, with the injuries has made it challenging here in this training camp for the New Orleans Saints to be excited. There was so much excitement coming into camp because of what Scott said, the hope that Shuck takes the next step this year and all the weapons they added on the offensive side, and maybe the defense, even if it just replicates its performance. I mean, the defense was 9th in the NFL in total defense. That's plenty good enough if your offense catches up. But with the injuries, it's muted some of that excitement. So my real sincere hope is just get through the next 2 preseason games as healthy as you can and get ready really after those first 2 tough road games, week 1 at Detroit, week 2 at Baltimore, to come home and win 3 straight. Because that I think is going to be the key to setting up this season for the expectations a lot of us have. It's going to be being 3-2 through those first 5 games, getting through those first 5 with your head above water. All right, it's After Further Review. Thanks for hanging out with us here on a Friday edition of AFR, presented by Don Juan Cigar Bar in Town Center. We are here at the DraftKings Sportsbook at the Golden Nugget in Lake Charles, and glad to have you hanging out with us here. Let me knock out a quick break. When we come back, someone who actually has pretty high hopes for these New Orleans Saints is Matt Jacobs, sports betting analyst, has a few interesting takes on the Saints. We'll get to that next on AFR.
AFR.
GLO, glowresources.com, glowresources.com. At Glow Resources, they are a complete employer solution. See, at Glow Resources, they don't work for the employee. They're not I always tell you what they are by telling you what they aren't. At Glow Resources, they are not a temp staffing agency. Glow Resources helps you, the business owner, you, the ops manager, the hiring manager, the HR manager. If you're the person responsible for finding the right people in your business, Glow Resources helps you find those people. And they do it for skilled blue-collar labor or any type of office job all over the country and all over the world. Like, this was just one listed today, a pipe layer and laborer in Geismar. They're looking for an excavator operator in Sanford, North Carolina. I can go down the list and tell you about the dozens and dozens and dozens of companies all over the country. There's a company in Baton Rouge looking for a chief financial officer. Glow Resources is helping them find that employee. They can help you as well. So check them out online at GLO, glowresources.com.
Hi, this is Beth Serena. Welcome to my pool. The first time I saw this beautiful pool, it exceeded every expectation that I had. They were able to get everything we wanted in this pool. It is a beautiful pool. We live out here. We eat out here. We watch TV out here. This is like our living room outside. We love this pool and everything about it. When we decided to build our pool, we called a great friend who is one of the best pool builders in the country in North Louisiana, and we said, who would you choose to build a pool in Baton Rouge? And without a hesitation, he told us Russell Pools. He said their history, tradition of great builds, great pools was unmatched. So of course, who did we call? Russell Pools. The advice I would give to anyone looking to build a pool is first call Russell Pools. They'll do an incredible job. It'll be incredibly organized. It'll be time efficient, and you will have your pool in no time.
People ask why I chose to partner with Parrish. The answer is simple: trust. Whether you're choosing teammates, business partners, or the people working on your home or business, choose a company you know and trust. Visit parrishbuilt.com.
Every ounce of Raising Cane's lemonade has been hand-squeezed that day from fresh lemons before being served over our signature crushed ice. Because when you make it right, you can taste it in every bite. Raising Cane's Chicken Fingers. One love.
I've been in banking for over 35 years. I usually start about 7:30 in the morning, and I usually leave somewhere around 5, or if customers need me to meet them at their house or their business places, I don't mind going after hours. I have done churches, subdivisions, retail centers, hospitals, and nursing homes. And that's why we chose to live in this community, because of the values First American Bank has, that I can serve my community and my customers.
Sometimes you ignore the signs, even when they're right in front of you. Problem gambling isn't always easy to spot. Know the signs, set your limit. Learn more about healthy gambling habits by visiting us online, or text or call for free, confidential help now.
After further review with Matt Moscona, presented by Don Juan Cigar Bar.
Saints will play their second preseason game on Saturday, 3 o'clock Central Time out in L.A., SoFi against the Rams. Trying to put the finishing pieces on this roster, trying to stay healthy, and maybe, just maybe, take a crack at getting back in the playoffs for the first time since Drew Brees retired after the COVID season. The guy who thinks they got a good shot to do it is Matt Jacob, longtime sports betting analyst. He writes for Yahoo and other outlets, and he's got a piece up right now where he thinks the Saints winning the South might be one of the best bets you could place here preseason, and Matt's good enough to join us on the show. Hey, Matt, thanks for the time, man. How are you?
Good, fellow Matt. Doing great. Thanks for having me on. And, yeah, you said one key thing in your intro there, that it's everything with the Saints, and that's health, the healthy part. there's just not a lot of wiggle room with this team, but I like the pieces that are in place.
Okay. I admittedly am an unapologetic homer when it comes to the Saints. I try in this job to pride myself on being objective.
Got it.
I had them winning 5 games a year ago. They won 6, so I feel like I got a good finger on the pulse. I like this team. Its ceiling to be 9-8 and win a bad division and make the playoffs, host a wild card round playoff game. Am I nuts?
No, you're not nuts, especially the bad division part. That was pretty much what I wrapped up my analysis with in the article that you referenced. Last year, a trio of 8 and 9 teams tied for first place. It's just not going to take much. I expect the division to be a hot mess once again. No offense to Saints and Saints fans, but it just means that the division's up for grabs. And it's been a division that maybe not, the Bucs had a run there, obviously, for a while. There was times when it was like worst to first seemingly every year in the NFC South. So, I think the Saints, what I really, really like about them, and I know momentum isn't what it used to be season to season because of free agency and whatnot, and the schedule's kind of being more balanced. But I love the way the Saints finished last year. Under rookie coach Matt, he is, when they start out bad, and the Saints started out bad, they were 2-11. Usually teams like that can just crumble and give up and quit and say this coach isn't the right guy. They didn't quit. That says a lot about Kellen Moore. It says a lot about the character of the team. They go on and win 4 of their final 6 games. And as you know, they easily could have won all 6 in a row. They lost 21-17 to Miami in week 13, 19-17 to Atlanta in the finale. I love the way Tyler Schaub played down the stretch. Again, a guy who started out rough, as rookies are wont to do, hung in there, averaged exactly 260 passing yards a game with 9 touchdowns and 4 interceptions over the Saints' final 8 games. You got to like that progress. I do not like what's behind him. He has to stay upright and he has to show progress for this bet to hit.
How much so if I have one reason for pause with Tyler Shuck, it's they went 5-4 in his starts, but they beat the Jets and they beat the Titans and they beat a bunch of bad teams. Any reason why we think that might be different when, say, they open against the Lions and the Ravens on the road, and we know they're going to play Pittsburgh and Paris, and they're going to play at Cincinnati? I mean, there are some at Chicago. There are some spots on the schedule that are really tough.
There are definitely, and I'm a big fan of early season success, and that could be a hiccup for the Saints because those are 2 tough games to open the season with. No question about it. They're obviously huge underdogs to Detroit in week 1. They'll be the same with Baltimore. But, they can sustain those losses, again, because they're playing in a weak division. They get six games against teams that they could beat. They could lose all 6, obviously, but they could win all 6 of those games. So I think that, again, that where they are in their division, again, the health factor is going to be huge. And the defense has to kind of carry the load once again. I was really impressed with the way that they played last year. And they finished with some bad teams, but the Saints were a bad team. Bad team being a bad, it's still a victory. It's something to build on, right? So I like that positive. I also like the second year of a coach who had some late season success. You got the full off season to work with these guys again. Get a little bit more of your package installed, get them to learn it. So I just think the Saints are in a good position in that regard. Like you, I don't expect this team to go 12-5 or 11-6, but it has a chance to finish above 500. As we saw last year, maybe you don't even need to finish above 500 to win the division.
You also said that you think this division will be a hot mess. So I kind of agree. Is there any way, any path you see where the division is not a hot mess?
If 2 teams rise above, and I think one of those teams would have to be Tampa Bay, and I guess it could be Carolina. I mean, it depends. I'm still not sold on Bryce Young. I wasn't sold from the get-go. He's certainly matured a lot last year, almost beat the Rams in the playoffs. Got to like that progress. I just think people are a little bit too high on Tampa Bay right now. And as far as the Falcons are concerned, this could be the year, but this is going to be Falcons years like 3 years in a row, and they haven't gotten it done. I love the Falcons. Could never understood for 3 years. It was like everyone's buying the Falcons. I'm like, what am I missing? And then early January, I'm like, I wasn't missing anything. The Falcons were not that good. And maybe this is the year with the new coach that they make a leap. I'm just not sold on their quarterback spot either. Defense is going to be good, but so yeah, it's a possibility this division could be more competitive. I can't be possibly less competitive than it was last year. A lot of that obviously has to do with schedule and where teams fall and things like that.
Yeah, it's so interesting. It feels like in the not-too-distant past we were talking about the NFC West being an absolute abomination, and now they're awesome. The NFL is cyclical in nature, and it's funny how that happens. But all right, one more for you, not related to the South. You also have Denver and New England missing the playoffs. From AFC Championship game to missing the playoffs, why?
I just expect serious regression from both of these teams. I will be stunned if I go 0 for 2 here. Maybe I go 1 for 1, but if I go 0 for 2, I'll be stunned. These teams last year, Denver went 11-2 in one-score games. They had one of the top 5 healthiest teams in football by one metric. The Patriots were even healthier. The Patriots they won 13 of their 14 games against teams that didn't make the playoffs. Both these teams have much tougher schedules, especially the Broncos out of the gate. They go to Kansas City, then they get the Jaguars and Rams at home. Then they go to the 49ers and Chargers, and they face the defending champions Seahawks at home. They could be 1-5 by mid-October, in my opinion, right? And as far as the Patriots go, I'm not the only one who thought they were a fraud last year. They finally got exposed in the Super Bowl. 14-3 is 14-3. Can't take anything away from them. But this team, 2 consecutive years before that, was 4-13. I don't think Mike Vrabel makes that much of a difference. Then there's that whole scandal, which I'm not so sure isn't going to find its way to have an impact on the field in some way, shape, or form. And again, if either of these teams get off to rough starts, and Denver certainly could, I think they both could miss the playoffs. Look at last year. Who saw the Chiefs and the Ravens missing the playoffs? Nobody.
He is Matt Jacobs, sports betting analyst. Get his stuff over at Yahoo. It's a great piece up, and he kind of likes the Saints to win the division. It's worth holding that ticket. I couldn't agree with you more.
Matt, good value, too. That's the other reason, too. The plus 270 is good value.
I was going to say, so plus 270, I mean, golly, that is a tasty, tasty number. I'll hold that ticket. Matt, we appreciate it, man. We'll catch up down the line. Thank you.
Thanks for having me. I appreciate it, Matt.
Yeah, it's our pleasure. It's After Further Review. We're glad to have you hanging out with us here. We're brought to you by our friends over at Relief Windows and ReliefWindows.com. Windows, doors, siding, shutters, and shades. Relief Windows, ReliefWindows.com. It's 96 degrees. You know what happens when it's 96 degrees? Your AC pumps all day. Well, when you have costly air leaks, it means your AC never catches up. So your energy bills go up. You want to control those energy bills? Install energy-efficient replacement windows from Relief Windows. Every window, measure twice, install once, custom-made for the exact specification of your home to reduce those costly air leaks, to keep the hot air out, the cool air in, and lower your energy bills. So in time, this investment into your home pays for itself, and you're going to get credit on your home's resale value as well. It's Relief Windows. Windows, doors, siding. Oh, yeah, they do shutters, too, and shades. Relief Windows and ReliefWindows.com. All right, it's After Further Review. We're going to come back, wrap up hour number 2. Muse will have Tigers in the pros. And then we got a busy third hour straight ahead as well. We are going to be joined by Bryan Driskell, who covers Notre Dame. If you're, we went round and round with Bryan back in the day when LSU hired Brian Kelly, but glad we kept his number. And we'll talk to Bryan coming up here in about 30 minutes from right now. Want to get some perspective on junior Tuihalamaka. If you missed it, defensive end, just finished his 4th season at Notre Dame, was not in an NFL training camp. So was not trying to make an NFL roster. But with the whole 5-for-5 ruling, he was part of the injunction, the TRO, granted to those 16 players earlier this week in Louisiana, which gives him eligibility, and he committed to LSU today. Very obvious to see why he was part of that injunction and why others are as well. So we'll see what others may follow, but we'll get sort of a sense of who Junior Tuihalamaka is as a player from Bryan Driskell in about 30 minutes from right now. Okay, quick break. We'll come back, wrap up hour number 2. Muse will have Tigers in the pros. We'll also hear from Charlie Weiss, who met with reporters earlier today. A ton to do. Stay with us. It's AFR.
AFR.
Get Gordon and get it done. Gordon McKernan Injury Attorneys. If you've been injured in an accident, it's not your fault. You know what to do. Do what injured people in our state have done for 30 years. Get Gordon and get it done. And right now, design your Get Gordon billboard. Oh, yeah. Get all the rules at the website, getgordon.com/billboards. 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 There's an adult division and a kids division. You can win up to $2,000 in prizes from Gordon McKernan Injury Attorneys if your design is chosen. And, of course, your design could be seen on a billboard on the side of the interstate. How cool is that? Go to any of their social media accounts as well. You'll see all the rules and regulations, but log on to getgordon.com/billboards, getgordon.com/billboards to enter the Gordon McKernan Billboard Design Competition. Getgordon.com/billboards. Get Gordon and get it done.
Bayou Ford has 0% APR with no payments for 90 days and $1,000 down payment assistance on select 2026 Ford models.
Plus the complimentary 7-year powertrain warranty that comes with all new Bayou Automotive vehicles.
If you need sales or service, the crew at Bayou Automotive is going to do right by you.
Who bears the standard? Who sets the bar? It's not those satisfied by low-hanging fruit or by taking it easy. Now the standard is set by the best of us, by those who work hard. Dig deeper. Give more. At Sunshine, we're proud to provide John Deere products that work hard for you, the standard bearers. Find the dealer nearest you at sunequip.com.
Community sailing is all about getting people in the New Orleans area out on boats, out on Lake Pontchartrain. Gulf Coast Bank helps us provide opportunities to get folks out who might not otherwise have the financial means to come sailing. Auctions in August is an online fundraiser that helps nonprofits like us service the community. Bidding through Auctions in August is a lot of fun because there's so many different items. There's something for everyone, so you're sure to find something that relates directly to you that you'll enjoy bidding on.
Amigo Owls, y'all, from Brandon and Mackenzie Landry, of course, who brought you Supper Club. Their latest concept is Amigo Owls, Highway 30 in St. Gabriel. So if you're leaving LSU, shout out to all the new LSU students, by the way. You're looking for your new spot. Amigo Owls. Go south on Nicholson, leaving campus, going south on Nicholson, past U Club, about a quarter mile on your left. Just look for the yellow truck. You'll see Amigo Owls. Now, I understand. Maybe you live in South Baton Rouge. Maybe you live in Gonzales. Maybe you live in Ascension. Maybe you live in Bocage. Maybe you live in a completely different part of town that's far and you don't want to drive. Great. I got a solution. Amigo Owls has the third-party delivery apps now. So punch up Uber Eats or DoorDash and have those high-quality Mexican ingredients, delicious flavors delivered, even their exquisite margaritas with great ingredients. It's in just sugar, water, and bad tequila. They're delicious. Check it out. It's Amigo Owls. Make it this weekend, Amigo Owls.
After further review with Matt Moscona, presented by Don Juan Cigar Bar.
We'll get to Tigers and the Pros here in just a quick second. Charlie Weis did meet with reporters today, and this is the first time that Charlie Weis has spoken into a microphone since he was hired at LSU, and it'll be the only time we get to talk to him. Lane doesn't let coordinators speak to the media. And Charlie Weis was asked if he ever considered staying with Ole Miss during that whole drama with the back and forth.
Yeah, I think just right now I'm just so focused on being here. That feels like that whole saga and everything that went down, it feels like it put about 10 years on my life. So I'm just so happy to be here now, fired up. I love our players. It's been a great group to work with. So really that's the main focus right now, is just staying on track with that.
I don't blame him at all for answering the way he did as you're 2 weeks from the opener. I will say, though, when you don't ever have the opportunity to ask the offensive coordinator a question when he was at the center of a gigantic story 8 months ago, when he was literally going back and forth with a playoff team and then his new team. I mean, day to day, there were times we told you, like, Charlie Weis was in the office recruiting, and then he was on a plane to Ole Miss for practice and on a plane back to LSU throughout that whole process. Like, that's the downside of never having the opportunity to ask the guy questions. When you finally do, he's going to be asked some of those. And he was asked also, by the way, why he decided ultimately to leave Ole Miss and choose Baton Rouge.
Number one, Coach Kiffin, right? I mean, he believed in me at a very early age, and when, probably a lot of people wouldn't take a chance on a young coach, and he did, and so I do feel, I owe a lot to him for my career and the places that he's hired me, and so I think that's definitely, the number one factor. And then, the other thing too is just LSU. It's a dream place to be, growing up, watching college football, being at Alabama when I was, really got my first job there with Coach Kiffin, playing at LSU at night. I mean, I think this environment's the coolest environment in all of sports to go play in. And so just the thought of playing here, and that's our home crowd, was kind of gave me chills.
Yeah, he talked about, obviously that was the 24, the overtime game. But Lane Kiffin a day ago, in a preparation of knowing we were going to talk to Charlie Weis today, was asked about Charlie Weis and meeting him and their journey together, which is this story I'm sure at some point Lane is told, but it's not something I had heard and you might find interesting.
He was brought to our attention. There was a guy named Eric Keesaw that had been when we were at Alabama, that had been at Kansas with Charlie's dad, and Charlie was just a probably student on the staff hanging around and helping out at Kansas, and he just said, hey, I think you'd really like this guy. We had a spot open. The guy's a genius, and I just think you'd really love finding this guy at this age. And came on an interview and did great. I've told the story before, the photographic memory, that I was told about, and I challenged it with an ID and credit card at dinner, and then brought it up the next day, and he could remember all of it. And so it's just been a really cool story, and him and I talk all the time about some things you think are bad or good, and some things you think are good or bad. If you reserve judgment, eventually they may be opposite of what you think. So we've had where he's left me. I actually brought him to FAU with me, and then he left after a couple weeks and went with Sark to the Falcons. And I brought him back, and then in the way I left him, I didn't bring him to Ole Miss. His wife holds that against me at times. But it all worked out, and then we brought him back, and almost lost him again in this last transition, and so really cool that came back to us.
It's so interesting, just listening to Lane Kiffin so often now, and I've said this on multiple platforms, so forgive me if you've heard me say this. I'm going to repeat it now for those who haven't heard me say it. When you cover a team on a day-to-day basis, like, part of your job is, like, anytime there is media access, when you cover that team, you listen to everything. So I've heard every word that Lane Kiffin has spoken into a microphone for the last 8 months. Every press conference, every interview, everything he's done, I've listened to all of it. Many instances, cut it, dissected it, whatever. And so you start to have these ruminations and these ideas and thoughts. And one of the things I'll tell you definitively about Lane Kiffin is very clear when he wants to talk about something and when he doesn't want to talk about something. Because there are times when he will give you, I think there were 3 answers at a press conference last week that he gave that cumulatively totaled about 10 seconds. And then he can talk about Charlie Weis for a minute and a half and be really detailed and thoughtful, and it's very interesting to listen to. And I think for a guy that is labeled, and probably rightly in some instances, as transactional and not relational, I think it was interesting to hear Lane Kiffin, who seems to have a very sincere and deep affection for Charlie Weis. So that was cool to hear. All right, it's after further review. Musso, Tigers in the pros.
Tigers in the pros. They still bleed purple and gold. They're just really rich now.
Gage Jump took the mound for the A's on a Thursday against the Kansas City Royals. He was roughed up a good bit in that one. 4 innings, 8 hits, 5 earned for Jump. Also walked 3 in that game. Out of the game after just 86 pitches. It was his 8th loss of the season as the A's fell 6-2 to Kansas City. To minor league baseball, Anthony Ianson, he was on the bump for Double-A Chesapeake. Of course, that's now in the Orioles organization. He was phenomenal. Once again, 7 innings, 1 earned run, didn't walk anybody, and punched out 8. His season ERA now down to 1.93. While Ianson was spectacular, his team was not. They didn't score a run, so Ianson got a tough luck loss. He's now 6-1 on his minor league season. Garrett Jones, he's in high A ball, of course. Grasshoppers over there in the in high A ball. He went 2 for 3 in the game. Both of those were singles. Did drive in a run in the game as well. That was his 56th RBI. Also drew a walk. Jones, 307 on the year, the 56 RBI, and he's also up to 16 homers. He's been fantastic at the high A level. See if promotion maybe isn't in his future. If not, towards the end of the minor league season here, maybe the start of the next one after spring training. And then Angel Reese in the WNBA. There's another double-double for Angel. 20 points. How about a perfect 9 for 9 from the field, including 2 of 2 from beyond the arc. Every shot Angel put up went in. 20 points in the 10 rebounds. Also 8 assists. Just missed the triple-double, and the Atlanta Dream scored a massive blowout victory over the Los Angeles Sparks, 124-88. That is Tigers in the Pros.
Presented by Parish Construction and Roofing, parishbuilt.com, parishbuilt.com. Tell you every day, do business with someone you know. That's me and Terrio and Tilly, our great staff, and our new partner, Drew Brees. Why wouldn't you do business with Drew Brees? Like, for real. I mean, he's a literal Pro Football Hall of Famer, the greatest, most influential athlete in the history of the state of Louisiana, is our partner at Parish Construction and Roofing. So if you need a roof repair, replacement, commercial, residential, we'd love to help you out. We do gutters and soft wash, too. It's parishbuilt.com. Go to the website, fill out the form on the homepage. We'll be in touch same day, parishbuilt.com, parishbuilt.com. Do business with someone you know. Parish Construction and Roofing, parishbuilt.com. Okay, y'all, it's After Further Review. In 20 minutes, we're going up to South Bend. We'll talk to Bryan Driskell about the Notre Dame commitment that LSU got today. LSU also projected to land a basketball commit as well that we'll talk about coming up after the top of the hour. I do want to give you my LSU fall camp takeaways and what to watch Saints-Rams. So we've got a ton to get to in hour number 3. Don't you move. Hour 3 of AFR coming up, presented by Don Juan Cigar Bar.
AFR.
Love telling you about Hancock Whitney Bank, the official banking partner of the New Orleans Saints, the official banking partner of your Fighting Tigers of LSU. You know, I tell you every day that I am a card-carrying member of the Houdat Nation, and you can be as well. I'm going to make sure I have my number covered up here, but I'll show you. There it is right there, so you know I'm not lying. I've got my money clip, and there is my Hancock Whitney Bank official debit card, my New Orleans Saints Hancock Whitney card. So I'm telling you, if you have ever, as long as I have had my checking account, I have been a Hancock Whitney. Hancock Whitney has been my bank. Thank you, Paul. I was wondering. I didn't know if you were going to be able to put it on the screen. I see it. Thank you. Hancock Whitney's been my bank. You'll love the relationship as well at Hancock Whitney. Go to HancockWhitney.com/Matt. They got more than 180 full-service financial centers, over 200 ATMs around the South. So when you're traveling this football season, remember, HancockWhitney.com/MATT.
Another roof gone too soon. Looks like neglect. There's no doubt about it. This is a case of poor installation. At Pelican Roofing, we don't guess. We investigate to find the real cause of your roof's problems. Call Pelican Roofing for your free roof investigation today. Case closed.
Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram has the new Ram 1500 truck on our lot now with $22,000 off MSRP.
Plus the complimentary 7-year powertrain warranty that comes with all new Bayou Automotive vehicles.
If you need sales or service, the crew at Bayou Automotive is going to do right by you.
The experts at Hood Dental Care want you smiling bigger and healthier than ever. New patients can get a healthy gums cleaning for just $89, plus a free exam and full mouth x-rays. A $376 value. With over 3,000 5-star Google reviews, 5 local locations, and easy online scheduling with same-day care. Hood Dental makes it simple to get started. And we always have other great giveaways for new patients. Check out hooddentalcare.com and schedule your appointment today.
My name is Mike Krumholt, and I've been with First American Bank for 4 years. What makes First American Bank special is we're able to offer all the products and services that any other big bank can offer. What sets us apart is being able to give that small town feel that someone can pick up the phone and they can talk to someone or stop by the branch and get excellent customer service.
Who bears the standard? Who sets the bar? It's not those satisfied by low-hanging fruit or by taking it easy. Now the standard is set by the best of us, by those who work hard. Dig deeper. Give more.
Is SportsCenter.
I'm Christine Lisi. A little more than 2 years after being traded from the Warriors to the Mavericks, Klay Thompson is on his way out of Dallas. He's expected to sign a 2-year, nearly $13 million deal with the Heat after clearing waivers following his buyout from the Mavs. He addresses Miami's need for perimeter shooting as it seeks to build an NBA contender around Giannis Antetokounmpo and Bam Adebayo. No winner in the Raiders quarterback race between Kirk Cousins and rookie Fernando Mendoza just yet. Team isn't ready to name its starter, explains coach Clint Kubiak.
I know I said it last night. I just don't think it ever benefits a player to know that they have a spot secured. And if there's always a little bit of uneasiness about that, that benefits the whole team, the player and the team.
Kubiak also said he was pleased with Mendoza when watching the tape from last night's preseason game and his progress. Seahawks receiver Jake Bobo suffered what appeared to be a serious knee injury during today's joint practice against the Titans. Major League leading Brewers up 2-0 on the NL East leading Braves, bottom 7. Jacob Mizorowski, 4 hits, 8 Ks in 6 shutout innings today. Chris Sale still on the hill for Atlanta.
If you run a small business, you've got to try Gusto. Get unlimited payroll runs and get your payroll taxes filed automatically. Offer health insurance, 401k, and more. Get started for free at gusto.com.
Matt Moscona.
I'm very important.
After further review.
Say one more time.
After further review with Matt Moscona.
And here we go.
Live from the Raising Cane studio.
That's right.
Hour 3, off we go. Welcome aboard. Glad you're with us. It's AFR. We're presented by Don Juan Cigar Bar. Today, not at the Raising Cane studio. We're here in Lake Charles at the DraftKings Sportsbook at the Golden Nugget Casino. This is a beautiful spot. If you've never been, 10 out of 10 recommend you find a way to find time to get over here and hang out at the Golden Nugget. Great restaurants, casinos. The Sportsbook is gorgeous. TVs everywhere. I mean, I'm sitting here on a couch with this, I don't know, what is that, a 40-foot wall of giant TVs. It's amazing. Anyway, trust me, get to the Golden Nugget if you've never been. LSU is going to, we're going to talk in 13 minutes. Bryan Driskell will be here. LSU football got a commitment from junior Tuihalamaka, a defensive end from Notre Dame. We'll talk to Bryan Driskell, who covers Notre Dame, in 13 minutes. LSU is going to scrimmage Saturday in Tiger Stadium, and it will be the final practice of fall camp. They'll have Sunday off, at least from their field work. Then Monday school starts, and then it's getting ready for Clemson. So it's a good time. It's an appropriate time to give you my 5 biggest fall camp takeaways. I didn't land on 5 intentionally. It's just I was thinking, what are the biggest things I feel like I've learned through fall camp, and it just happens to be that there were 5. Number 1, first and foremost, my biggest question coming into fall camp was Sam Leavitt and his health. So my biggest takeaway has to be that Sam Leavitt is healthy. And I've said it this way, If you walked into practice blind, you knew nothing about this LSU football team, and I told you, hey, there's a guy out there who had a really serious foot injury, had Lisfranc surgery, a missed spring, go out there and tell me if you think you could find out which guy that is. There's no shot you would have pointed to 10. He doesn't move at all with a noticeable limp or any limitation. There's no brace. It's not taped. There's just nothing that would indicate Sam Leavitt was injured. So the fact that Sam Leavitt is healthy is massive. And when Lane Kiffin met with reporters yesterday, he was asked a question about, in the spring he said they'd be a defensive team. How would you kind of characterize your team now? And he talked for, I don't know, a minute or so about how good the defense is, but he ended up pivoting the answer to Sam Leavitt, and in my opinion, said a mouthful.
Our offense has started to improve. Sam has been awesome. He really has been. I don't say that very often, but he made 2 throws back-to-back today that, I call them adult throws that not many people in the country can make. So really pleased with him, and now we got to make more plays around him.
Lane Kiffin is not typically effusive with praise. That's one of the things I've learned covering him. Him using the word awesome to describe Sam Leavitt and then talking about the adult throws, that's why you paid Sam Leavitt what you did. It's why you brought him here. It's why Lane Kiffin got on a plane and flew to Knoxville to intercept him at the airport to make sure you got him here, because everything this team is going to be, whatever that ceiling is, if it's 9 games, 10 games, undefeated, make the playoff, win the championship, whatever that ceiling is, they're only going to reach that ceiling with a healthy Sam Leavitt playing at his peak, and you're seeing that in camp, and that's awesome to see. Coming out of spring, Lane Kiffin, we talked so much about the receivers because it was a wholesale makeover of that room. You returned 1 scholarship receiver from a year ago. 1, Phillip Wright. Everyone else is brand new. 9 transfers, 3 freshmen. Lane said in the spring he wants 4 to 6 guys he can count on so they have depth and a healthy rotation, so you're not relying so heavily on one guy. It's not tilting the field. Could you establish those 4 to 6? Well, it's pretty obvious. It's Jace Brown. It's Winnie Watkins. It's Trey Wilson. It's Jackson Harris. It's Malik Elzy. Those are your 5. Those are your 5. And, of course, Trey'Dez Green, who's listed as a tight end, but he ain't no tight end. He's the best weapon they got. He's been in gold the whole fall camp because they can't afford to lose him. So it's just keep that guy healthy. I think they've identified their receivers. That's 2. 3 is Jace Thomas. And this, I think, is the biggest surprise of spring. Blake Baker, a week ago, called Jace Thomas the biggest surprise of spring. And he's right. Because I don't think any of us coming out of spring, said spring and fall camp, coming out of spring going into fall camp, I don't think any of us thought TaMarcus Cooley was in jeopardy of losing his job. That's a guy who could have left for the pros after last season, came back, started his career at Maryland, then went NC State, then LSU, was all-conference at NC State, became a starter at LSU, played over 700 defensive snaps last year, and you pair him with Ty Benefield, we're thinking, all right, well, you're set at safety. Not so fast. We go out there and we see Jace Thomas running with the 1s. And every conversation I've had, I believe both Jace Thomas and TaMarcus Cooley are going to play and are going to play a lot. But I think Jace Thomas is going to start. I think he's going to be out there defensive snap 1 against Clemson in that season opener on September 5th. Jace Thomas winning that safety job apparently is a huge development. On the flip side of it, I'll tell you my 4th biggest takeaway is I have a real concern about this defensive line. And that's going to sound strange because when Lane Kiffin was talking about the scrimmage last Saturday, now we didn't get to see the scrimmage, but when Lane Kiffin was talking about it, he talked about how Sam Leavitt was under a lot of pressure, and he did great under pressure. Well, he meant it as a compliment to Leavitt, using his feet, his mobility, but the part that can't be missed is there was pressure. Now, maybe that's an indictment on the offensive line, or maybe that's a compliment to the defensive line, but for me, I look at that defensive line, and you are very clearly thin at edge with Gabe Relaford done for the season and Damian Shanklin not being with the program presently. You've got 1 guy with skins on the wall in Prince Willie Monmielen. I'm very high on Jordan Ross, but he has not played. He's not started a game in 2 years. And then Dylan Carpenter has not played significantly in 3 years. And then you've got a freshman in Lamar Brown. Now, they did add junior Tuihalamaka here on Friday, and I believe Jack Pyburn is going to join this football team. Again, things can change, and we'll see. But if they had odds on that here at the DraftKings Sportsbook at the Gold Nugget, I can go to a window over there and make a bet. I would bet on Jack Pyburn playing for LSU against Clemson. I think that's going to happen. Maybe I'm wrong. I think it's certainly trending in that way. Jack wants to rejoin LSU. LSU clearly wants Jack Pyburn, and I think they'll make that work if Pyburn doesn't make the Bucks, and I think that's how it's going to play out. But remains to be seen. Interior, of course, we've talked about it ad nauseum. You're probably going to start 2 true freshmen. You need Don McKinley and Malik Blockton and Stephylon Green to get better. And all 5 of those guys have got to stay healthy because you've got to have that 5-man rotation. I mean, after that, is it Achilles Woods? Is it Brandon Brown? Is it Shone Washington? I mean, that's why we're talking about Xavier Harris, potentially, the former Ole Miss player, theoretically, potentially, joining LSU. I don't know that that's going to happen, but don't listen to what they say, look at what they do. And the fact that they added an edge rusher today, the fact that they're talking about potentially adding Xavier Harris, it tells you where Lane Kiffin said, has talked about this. It tells you where their concerns are on the team. And I think defensive line, for me, especially the depth there, really is a concern. But 5th, they stayed healthy. And I'll knock on wood, and I don't want to jinx anything, and I don't believe in jinxes. But the bottom line is, look, you suffered 2 significant injuries in spring that hurt your depth. Part of the reason you're thin at edge is because of Gabe Relaford's torn ACL. Part of the reason you're thin at cornerback is because you lost Aiden Anding in spring. Well, you've made it through fall camp. Look, it's football. You're going to have bumps and bruises and scrapes and sprains and strains and all that stuff. And there have been times throughout fall camp where guys have taken a day off or they've sat out of practice or they've worn the gold no contact. But you've avoided the significant injury in fall camp. Now, you got 1 day to go. You got 1 day to go with the scrimmage on Saturday. But get out of that thing healthy, and then you've made it through without suffering a real significant injury, which a lot of teams around the conference in college football can't say. I mean, South Carolina lost 2 receivers for the season. Tennessee lost its starting safety for the season. Alabama lost a running back it was really going to count on, which might be season-ending. Point is, LSU has avoided that to this point, and that might be the most significant thing after Sam Leavitt's health. So a few takeaways from me watching LSU so far in this fall camp. Got something you thought? Let me know. You can email us, tweet us, or text us here on the show always, and we appreciate you for hanging out. Okay, quick break. Talked about the defensive line. Earlier today, LSU added a player in an unconventional manner. A Notre Dame transfer junior, Tuihalamaka, who was part of the 16 players that got the TRO earlier this week from a Louisiana judge. He's committed to LSU, and I would suspect he'll be out there at practice on Monday. So what about him? Let's ask our buddy Bryan Driskell, who covers Notre Dame, about the type of player LSU's getting here. We'll do that next on AFR.
After further review.
As we roll along here from the DraftKings Sportsbook, I love telling you about RevFiber.com, RevFiber.com, official internet partner of LSU Athletics. It's RevFiber.com. Man, Erica and I at our home, we switched to Rev as soon as they laid fiber in our neighborhood. If you want to see if Rev currently has fiber in your neighborhood or at your place of business, you can go to the website, RevFiber.com, RevFiber.com. You can see the map and all the areas, all the neighborhoods, all the areas, the parishes that have Rev Fiber laid right now. High-speed internet up to 5 gigs, backed by the security and safety of an all-fiber network. Local service, local call centers, and 90 years serving Louisiana. Internet, home automation, security, phone, cable, they do it all. It's Rev Fiber. Official internet partner of LSU Athletics, RevFiber.com.
Bayou Ford has 0% APR with no payments for 90 days and $1,000 down payment assistance on select 2026 Ford models.
Plus the complimentary 7-year powertrain warranty that comes with all new Bayou Automotive vehicles.
If you need sales or service, the crew at Bayou Automotive is going to do right by you.
At Relief Windows, we're more than windows. We're windows, doors, hardy plank, and vinyl siding. But our number one product's always customer satisfaction. Come visit us at reliefwindows.com. By the way, we do shutters too.
Are you ready for an internet experience that actually keeps up with you? Then you're ready to step into a new kind of reliability with Rev Fiber. When your internet works, the possibilities open up, and suddenly everything feels more connected, just the way it should be. Seamless enough to keep up with every swipe and every click, anywhere you are. So leave the buffering behind. 100% fiber, 0% runaround, where support is still personal. Rev Fiber. Visit revfiber.com.
I'm Billy Schmidt, and I've been with First American Bank for 13 years. I have a passion of getting to know customers, getting to know their journeys, getting to know their stories, and being a small part of that, and just continuing that, and taking those relationships and expanding out into the community, just to make First American a household name. And people look at us and say, hey, what's special about you guys? You're part of a family.
At Southern Classic Chicken, we take pride in serving the freshest, seasoned, and marinated hand-breaded fried chicken. It's so good, it's wrong. Choose from a variety of classic sides like our zesty Cajun seasoned fries, savory red beans and rice, or sweet corn grits. Drive through today and pick up a family box or one of our classic combos and enjoy a true Southern classic. Order online and download our loyalty app to start earning those crispy and juicy rewards. Loyalty matters.
Man, age is just...
After further review with Matt Moscona, presented by Don Juan Cigar Bar.
Probably an inevitability that LSU was going to add a player among the 16 that were granted their TRO from a Louisiana judge earlier this week. The first domino has fallen. Junior Tuihalamaka, a defensive end from Notre Dame, has committed to LSU. Bryan Driskell covers Notre Dame for Irish Breakdown. He's at Coach D178 on Twitter, X, whatever you want to call it. Bryan, it's been a minute, man. Great to have you back on the show. Thanks for the time. How are you?
I'm doing great, man. Thanks for having me on.
Yep, it's our pleasure. Let's start with Junior, just the football player. Tell us about it.
I mean, you're going to get a guy that plays with a great motor. You know, you're going to get a guy that's been a solid run defender, but a very underrated pass rusher the last couple of years as a part-time defensive end. And Notre Dame's had a very deep edge rotation the last couple of years. He had 45 pressures, according to Pro Football Focus, the last 2 years.
Bryan, I'm sorry. Let me interrupt you real quick. Sorry. We're on remote. We're having one quick issue with your phone. We're going to hang up, and we're going to call you right back, okay?
Sure.
Okay, we're going to call you right back. Thanks, Dellenger. Go ahead. All right, we're going to get – I don't want to miss that because I know there are some people on the stream. It's a mono stereo thing anyway, whatever. It's one channel, two channels. Some of you weren't hearing Bryan. So no worries. We're going to get him right back. We're going to call him right back. We're going to get that back. Thanks for hanging out with us here. Actually, while Alondra calls Bryan, good opportunity to remind you about the Williamson Eye Center. 924-2020, 924-2020. You want to see 2020, call 924-2020 for the Williamson Eye Center. Hey, look, the weekend's here. I know that. So maybe this is the great opportunity to go to the website, start that journey to get your information and get your appointment scheduled. Go to williamsoneye.com, williamsoneye.com, williamsoneye.com for the Williamson Eye Center, eye care, eyewear, and eye surgery. It's the Williamson Eye Center, williamsoneye.com. Okay, we have Bryan. Bryan, I apologize. Thank you for your patience with that. Junior Tuihalamaka, the football player. Tell us about him.
I can't hear anything if somebody's
There you are. Hey, Bryan, sorry. You hear me now?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, gotcha now.
Apologies. You do remote broadcast. You get it sometimes. Okay. Let's start with
done that, yes.
Yeah, no doubt, man. Okay. Thank you for your patience. Junior Tuihalamaka, the football player. Tell us about him.
oh, look, you're getting a kid that's got a great motor. You're getting a smart football player. Actually got recruited to Notre Dame as a middle linebacker out of California. He's been part of Notre Dame's. They've had a very deep. They haven't like one stud in the last couple of years. They've had a very deep rotation, and despite being kind of a rotation player, he's had 45 pressures the last 2 years, according to Pro Football Focus, and he's been a guy that's been a clutch football player. You guys remember the Sugar Bowl? He had a big sack early in the game, beat Monroe Freeling for a sack, and then also recovered that early fumble when George was driving and Don Schuler knocked the ball out. He recovered, and that's just kind of been the way he's played. And you're also, as a football player, getting a solid edge defender, a guy that has experience dropping into coverage, obviously as a linebacker, and a guy that I think brings a little something as a role player, kind of a situational pass rusher at times, but a guy that can be a great part of the rotation. And he's a great team player. I mean, in 2024, Matt, he didn't play a snap the first 2 games of the year. And then they had 2 DNs go down. And instead of kind of pouting, he waited his turn. And when he got a chance to play, first game he's in the lineup, he gets a pick near the end zone. And he's just been that kind of kid his whole career at Notre Dame.
It's interesting because, I'm so glad for the context because it's easy to look at a box score, and I can look at his statistics and see in 4 years, played 54 games, had a total of 37 tackles, 4 sacks, and 9 TFLs. Now, that would be a good season, but that's his career. So what explains the seeming lack of productivity?
Just depth. I mean, if you look at his productivity on a per-snap basis, that's the thing I think that really helps when you look at some of Notre Dame's rotation ends the last couple of years. You say, with Junior, he had 3.5 tackles for loss. That was third on the defensive end depth chart, but he was 4th in snaps. I think he had like 155 pass rush snaps last year, but had 19 pressures. You kind of project that out over around 300 pass snaps, which is kind of like starter reps. You're talking about that guy's getting close to 40 pressures. So I think the thing with Junior is you've just got to look at more of the per snap production, and that's really the best way to tell story. Because Notre Dame hasn't had like that first round, top 15 defensive line recruit. Draft pick. Riley Mills is the closest that they kind of had that the last couple of years. What they kind of did, Matt, is they just kind of threw waves at people. It was 2-3 ends, 2-3 D tackles per position. And so nobody outside of Boubacar Traore really racked up the big numbers, but it just was every week it was somebody different. One snap it's Junior, the next snap it's Josh Burnham, the next snap it's Boubacar, the next snap it's RJ Oben, and that's kind of how it's been. So you got to look past the raw numbers and kind of analyze the per snap production, which has been solid for Junior the last couple of years.
That's why I love the context. 6'2", 255. Is he more of a boundary edge, like an edge rusher? That's kind of how LSU would label it, or a field, someone that would sort of set the edge and help against the run?
No, he's going to be. I mean, he's built kind of like a stout edge rusher, but that's not really his game. He's been more of that guy that can kind of come off the edge. I don't know how much LSU does with like sim pressures, or maybe they drop end. He does stuff like that. As I said, he was a middle linebacker coming out of high school. Actually played middle linebacker as a freshman at Notre Dame before moving to DN. So he's kind of got that all around game. I don't know if he's a guy that you necessarily want, playing inside of a tackle, for 25, 30 snaps a game. He's more of that set the edge in the boundary, get after it in the pass game on the edge, and then dropping the coverage from time to time. I think that's more of his role.
Bryan Driskell's with us, Irish Breakdown, at Coach D178 if you want to go give him a follow. Why wouldn't he return to Notre Dame?
Well, just kind of the lateness of how all this went down. That's really the big thing. Notre Dame wrapped up their camp today. There had been some talks about it, but he hasn't been in school. He graduated already, so he hasn't applied for any programs. And they've got pretty good depth coming back. Obviously, Boubacar Traore is back. Bryce Young is back. They've got a very talented 2 top 40 recruits at end. And then, of course, they got Keon Keeley out of the portal from Alabama. So there wasn't the need. And then just the timing of, when would he be eligible? Would he be eligible at Notre Dame? I just think it was one of those things where it was just Notre Dame already kind of moved on, and it was, his best opportunity is going to be somewhere else.
Yeah, it's one of the things where the timing of this, it's the one shred of sympathy I have for these players is they kind of got screwed. So they're all trying to find, because of the timing, to find a way back, those who can. Why didn't he go the NFL route?
He had an injury late last season, so he missed a lot of the combine and pro day opportunities to really test. He wanted to go to the NFL, but obviously he didn't get picked. And a lot of teams wouldn't kind of look at him because he was coming back from, I believe it was a shoulder injury that he kind of battled through last year. I think that played a role too. I want to make sure this is clear too, Matt. Notre Dame, if it would have worked out timing-wise, would have loved to have had Junior back. The one thing about him is he's a great locker room guy as well. He's not that guy that comes in with the prima donna attitude, give me mine. He wants to earn things. He comes from a great family. So you're getting a good locker room guy as well as a really quality rotation player on the edge. But, with Notre Dame, it really just came down to timing. If this would have happened maybe 3 weeks ago, maybe they would have considered it. But I also think Notre Dame was ready to move on with some of their younger players and kind of build their depth that way.
I don't know if you know this at all, Bryan, but do you know if he's been working out? Is he in football shape?
Yeah, to a degree, yeah. I mean, so he's at least been working out for the last month and a half, because this is something we got wind of before camp started. That Junior was a guy that was trying to find a home. And I think had the court ruled maybe a month ago, maybe Notre Dame would have reacted a little bit differently with bringing him back. So he's definitely been working out the last couple months. He wasn't sitting at home on the couch eating Cheetos and got the call like, "Hey, you want to play at LSU?" So he's been putting in the work, but obviously his off season was shortened a little bit because he was dealing with recovering from the shoulder injury.
Bryan Lessing, is there anything else that we should know about Junior, the process, that maybe that's a blind spot that I haven't asked?
No, I mean, look, if you're trying to build a program that's going to compete for championships, and you're trying to build a culture at LSU, you want to bring guys into your program that know what it's like to be a part of that kind of culture. And Junior's that kind of guy. When you look at what Notre Dame's built the last couple of years, this is a guy that's played in the national title game in minutes. This is a guy that had 2 game-changing plays in the Sugar Bowl win over Georgia. You have a guy that understands, hey, here's my role. I'm going to do the best I can at it. A guy that understands doing things the right way, putting in the work, kind of keeping your mouth shut, being a great teammate. And you can't have enough of those guys when you're building a new program, when you're trying to instill a culture in a program to kind of get back to where the program was. And so I think that, as much as the player is, I don't think you can have enough of that in your program, man.
No. Brian Driskell, Irish Breakdown at Coach D178. Hey, man, I can't thank you enough, especially on short notice, for jumping aboard and giving us some perspective, man. Thank you so much.
My pleasure.
Okay, man. Have an awesome weekend. It's after further review. Good perspective there. Because real quick, we're brought to you by Parish Restoration. I'm going to come back. I want to react to that. Brought to you by Parish Restoration, parishrestoration.com, parishrestoration.com. Kill mold, remove odor, other harmful pathogens. It's Parish Restoration. Maybe you bought a house where the previous homeowner had pets, and it's really hard to get that pet smell out of carpet. Parish Restoration can do it. Maybe the previous owner was a smoker. Maybe there was a fire and you need remediation and to get that smoke odor out of your home. Parish Restoration. And yes, of course, if you have mold or think you might, Parish Restoration. Go to parishrestoration.com, parishrestoration.com, parishrestoration.com. My first thought when I looked was at the stats was, okay, well, I mean, this was a guy that played 4 years and just never really made an impact. He had 37 tackles total over 4 seasons. But you hear what Bryan said there about how they used him in this wave of players, but his impact per snap rate was very high. That's very encouraging. The other thing, too, is the culture. And I know we have played that clip a million times here when Lane Kiffin talks about, he challenges the staff. Who is the person? Not just are they a great player, because it's a lot about you're bringing in guys. Are they going to stay? Are they committed to being a team? Is it just, do you want to get a check and then next year it's on to the next? Well, this guy who stayed at Notre Dame for 4 years and got his degree. I couldn't tell you, but it's interesting he mentioned that. I was at that Sugar Bowl against Georgia, and he mentioned the recovered fumble. Man, that was that right before half. I mean, Kirby, what were you doing? What were you doing? But anyway, we don't need to relitigate that. But this guy who's played in big games, played in impactful games, and is taking advantage of the 5-for-5. And this is a guy who didn't go to the NFL largely because of injury, and Notre Dame would have been interested in having him back, as you heard there, and is a good team guy, locker room guy. And if LSU has the space, which clearly they do, they've added a guy here at a position of need that can give them real veteran depth, which is great to see. So Junior Tuihalamaka has committed to LSU. He was part of that the lawsuit earlier this week. He got the TRO, so he's eligible for now. I'm sure the NCAA will appeal, but it's hard to imagine that appeal going the NCAA's way. They're basically going to ask a judge to overrule himself, which is hard to imagine that happening. Okay, it's After Further Review. Thanks for hanging out with us here. Remember, if you missed anything, AFR On Demand presented by Breck Golf. Book your tee time at golf.breck.org, golf.breck.org. We'll knock out a break, come back. Saints and Rams, second preseason game coming up on Saturday. I'll give you what I'm looking for. We're going to wrap up the show with a little Ask Us. Got a question for me. Alondra's on site here as well. Muso's back in studio. You can always get your questions in. Email us, tweet us, or text. You can text me in the 225-396-4400, 396-4400. Or text the show, text line at 499-1045, 499-1045, 499-1045 if you want to text us, fire away. Okay, quick break. We'll come back here from the DraftKings Sportsbook at the Golden Nugget in Lake Charles, and we're thrilled to have you hanging out with us. Stick around. It's AFR.
After Further Review.
If you want to feel your best, our friends over at Goodwood Men's Sexual Wellness can help. YourGoodwood.com, YourGoodwood.com. I get it. Funny name, funny logo. It's attention-grabbing. That's the point. Now let's talk about what they do. They will help at Goodwood. They will help men inside out feel your best to live your optimal life. Maybe that's hormone replacement therapy. Like, do you wake up in the morning and you're just sluggish? It's hard to get out of bed. Do you feel like you need a nap at 2 o'clock? Do you struggle to find the motivation to go to the gym? If you do get to the gym, you find it hard to burn fat and build muscle. Well, a lot of that is just as we age. Every one of us, no one is exempt. Our bodies produce less of the hormones that contribute to how we feel. Goodwood can help safely, affordably supplement to get you to healthy levels so you feel like you did when you were younger. It's amazing. It's life-changing. It's Goodwood Men's Sexual Wellness. YourGoodwood.com, YourGoodwood.com.
At Ochsner, we know healing is a team sport. That's why we've partnered with world-renowned orthopedic surgeon Dr. James Andrews to create the Ochsner Andrews Orthopedics and Sports Medicine Institute. Whether you're a professional athlete or a weekend warrior, our team of specialists are dedicated to getting you back in the game. So whatever your reasons are for reaching your personal best, we've only got one: you. Ochsner Andrews Institute. Long live you.
Every Raising Cane's chicken finger is marinated, battered by hand, and cooked to order to perfection. We don't have heat lamps, because when you make it right, you can taste it in every bite. Raising Cane's chicken fingers, one love.
People ask why I chose to partner with Parrish. The answer is simple: trust. Whether you're choosing teammates, business partners, or the people working on your home or business, choose a company you know and trust. Visit parrishbuilt.com.
If your office is experiencing performance issues like slow networks, jammed printers, or disappearing files, Advanced Office Systems may be right for you. With powerful IT solutions, print management, document imaging, and security systems, they help offices regain confidence naturally. Side effects may include uncontrollable efficiency, smoother workflows, and a sudden burst of office joy. Say goodbye to those emotional breakdowns in the supply closet and get back on track with Advanced Office Systems.
As a business owner, you're always focused on how you can improve the bottom line. Well, when was the last time you shopped your insurance coverage? Insurance Network of Louisiana can help. If you're a business owner, let my friends at Insurance Network of Louisiana see if they can find you better coverage for less money. They always offer exceptional customer service and partner with only the best providers. So check them out online today at lainsurance.net.
Eagle 98.1, the rock station. Home of the Woody Show in the morning. Scotty Mack with Rock at Work. Michelle Southern with Southern Rock. Home of LSU sports since 1998. And rock for Baton Rouge since 1985. Take us anywhere with the Eagle 98.1 app. To join our VIP fan club, text ROCK to 225-499-9898. Eagle 98.1, the rock station.
After further review with Matt Moscona, presented by Don Juan Cigar Bar.
Cruising along here, hour number 3 from the DraftKings Sportsbook at the Golden Nugget here in Lake Charles. Y'all, every time I come here, I'm blown away. This is just such a beautiful facility, man. Find a football Saturday or Sunday. Make plans to come pop in here and spend a day watching the games, place your bets, eat some great food. I mean, screens everywhere, unobstructed views, big comfortable couches and chairs. The circular bar area is awesome. I'll tell you, you will love it. And that's just the sports book. I mean, the guest rooms here are awesome. There's tons of shopping, and the pool area is gorgeous. I'm telling you, like, do a little, like, staycation, sort of getaway here to Lake Charles. Stay here at the Golden Nugget. Trust me, this place is fine. You'll love it. It feels like a Vegas-style resort here in Louisiana, which is awesome. So check it out. Thanks for the hospitality. They've been awesome to us. Saints and Rams are going to play their second preseason game Saturday, 3 o'clock kick. Admittedly, man, look, if you've listened to this show for any length of time, you know I'm a preseason training camp nerd. I'm the guy who follows all the practices, reads all the practice reports, watches every minute of the preseason game, because I'm always fascinated by roster spot 49, 50, 51, 52, 53, because that's the depth. Those are your special teamers. Sometimes those are the margin. You have an offensive lineman go down, God forbid, knock on wood, but who's the guy you punch in there in the middle of a game? Dylan Radins last year, when you had injuries, an injury at left guard, boom, who goes in? When you have an injury, like a season ago, you have an injury to Eric McCoy. Well, when Will Clapp got hurt, remember Will Clapp got hurt in the first freaking preseason game, the first freaking scrimmage, first series of preseason last year. Now, and then you end up losing Eric McCoy during the season. Well, what were you left with? So we all understand, like, the value of depth, because roster spots in the NFL are just so valuable. So yes, I do geek out on this stuff a little bit. Admittedly, most people like, just tell me when they kick off week 1 against Detroit, and I get it. Now, I wrote down 4 things that I think are worth watching. Number 1 is quarterback. Now, you're set with Tyler Shuck, we know that. But overwhelmingly, every single bit of conversation coming out of Saints training camp has been, it's Spencer Rattler's job. Well, I watched last Saturday, and I watched Zach Wilson look like the better player, because he was the better player on Saturday. Now, that's one data point. I'm assuming they're going to give Zach Wilson the opportunity to start against the Rams. I'm assuming that's what they're going to do. I don't know if that's – Kellen Moore hasn't announced it, but it sure sounds like when he was non-committal, that's probably where they're leaning. So can Zach Wilson go replicate that performance? If so, then maybe we are talking about Zach Wilson being the backup quarterback, and I don't hate that. I mean, the guy is physically gifted enough to be the number 2 pick in the draft. That hasn't worked out for him as a starter. But again, like, your backup quarterback should never be viewed through the prism of this is the guy that's going to help you win a championship. It's if something happens to your starter in a short term, can that person keep the train on the tracks? The best example I give all the time is Teddy Bridgewater in 2019. When Breeze was hurt, he was out 5 games. Bridgewater started. They went 5-0 with Teddy Bridgewater. They weren't winning a Super Bowl with Teddy Bridgewater, but the point is he kept every goal in line because he was able to function within that team and get you what you needed. So, God forbid something happens to Tyler Shuck and you need someone to go make a start or 2 or 3. Who is that? Well, we've seen Spencer Rattler start now during parts of 2 seasons in the NFL, and he hadn't won a game. So I'm not putting all of that on Spencer Rattler. The roster wasn't good around him, but the roster wasn't good around Tyler Shuck either. And Tyler Shuck went 5-4 as the starter a year ago. So, yeah, I am interested to see if Zach Wilson can put up another strong data point. And if he does he nose past Rattler? And if he does, are you looking at Spencer Rattler potentially as a trade candidate? Even if you recoup a 7th-round pick, anything for him in a quarterback-needy league, maybe that's an option. So quarterback is one that I'll certainly be keeping a close eye on. Running back is another, and it comes with a caveat because I think we understand. Look, Travis Etienne isn't doing anything in training camp, and he shouldn't. Like, wrap that dude in bubble wrap and put him on the sideline. I don't leave him doing anything, especially with the injuries you've had. He's too important, especially with the investment you made, $54 million. But after Etienne is certainly notable because Alvin Kamara now we know is going to be out a month, which means he'll probably miss the first couple of games of the season. We'll see if that lingers. So who's next? Remember, Kendre Miller is coming off the ACL, but he's missed the bulk of camp so far with a back injury. Well, he's back. How does he perform? Devin Neal was a 6th-round pick, and we had a lot of fanfare on Devin Neal last year because he was one of the most productive backs in the history of Kansas football. I get it, Kansas football. But still, that was a guy we were excited about a year ago. Well, battled injuries. Can Devin Neal win that spot? Audric Estime is on the sideline now for a couple of weeks as well with Alvin Kamara. I mean, that was the guy that I was excited about. Well, Estime's down, Kamara's down, but you got Devin Neal and Kendre Miller back from their injuries. And then there's Ty Chandler as well. Look, Ty Chandler opened the preseason game last week with an 86-yard kickoff return. Set up the first touchdown of the game where Estime scored bouncing around left end. Like, Ty Chandler may have an opportunity to make the team as a special team kick returner and then also as a depth piece at running back. So, look, a running back's success in large part is going to be determined by how good the offensive line is. So there's some of that they don't control. But there's a roster spot up for grabs, at least at the start of the season, knowing that Kamara is going to be on the shelf. So let's see those running backs who may emerge. On the defensive side, Martin Emerson and Jaden Price have such an incredible opportunity here with this one. We talked about PFF earlier this week, how they grade the Saints the 25th graded secondary in the NFL. That's corners and safeties. But it's to say Kool-Aid and Quincy Riley as a tandem are far from elite. How did they describe him? A high floor, and then the safeties were unspectacular. I forget exactly. How did they say it, Muse? Do you remember something if not unspectacular?
Steady if not unspectacular.
Steady if not unspectacular. I mean, nothing kind to say. Okay, well, now Quincy Riley's hurt. All right, Martin Emerson. All right, Jaden Price. They were really good in the first game of the preseason. There's a job to be won there. Like, this isn't just a depth piece. Like, there's a starting job potentially to be won with Quincy Riley on the shelf with a groin injury. I mean, who's going to be starting opposite Kool-Aid in Detroit week 1? It could be Emerson or Jaden Price. Could be. Here's an opportunity to go show you deserve it. Now, Isaac Adams out there and Terrell Burgess. You know, you talk about these veterans out there, Jordan Howden at safety. Like, are they in the conversation still for a roster spot? Like, this is one to keep an eye on. And then maybe this, I should have done this second because it's part and parcel with the quarterback. But, all right, Jordan Tyson's out. Who steps up? Last week it was Bub Means in the preseason game. And if Zach Wilson starts, and hat tip to Ross Jackson, he nailed this. I mean, Ross Jackson highlighted the rapport that Zach Wilson and Bub Means had. And it showed Bub Means led the Saints in receiving last week in receiving yards. Okay, well, this week at practice, it was Bryce Lance who took the big step and popped. Another data point. Who is it? Now, both of those guys, I think, especially with Tyson's injury, are going to make the team. I mean, I think we know at this point, Chris Olave, Barryon Brown, Bryce Lance, Bub Means, Devon Vele. Like, you got your 5 with Tyson on the shelf. But in what order? Like, what's the hierarchy? I mean, you could be really, really excited about Devon Vele. I've talked about that. You can be excited about him. But it ain't like there's a long list of validating evidence for Devon Vele. I mean, the first 9 games he played with the Saints, he caught 6 passes. He had one good game against Miami where he caught 8 balls. Was that the exception or the rule? I don't know. I think with Tyson out, there's a very real there's an opportunity for someone opposite Chris Olave to be the number 2 in this offense. Maybe it's Devon Vele. He's probably the betting favorite to be it. But could it be Bryce Lance? Could Barry Brown go have a big game? Could Bub Means continue his ascension? Let's see. Let's see who goes make plays on Saturday out there in SoFi. All right, it's after further review. Glad you're hanging out with us here on this Friday edition of AFR. We're going to wrap up the show with a little Ask Us. We're here at the DraftKings Sportsbook at the Golden Nugget in Lake Charles. They've been so hospitable, and we're very grateful to them for hosting us. But if you're back home, remember Don Juan Cigar Bar. That'll be our home for Football Fridays for LSU home games. So 2 weeks from today, we're back at Don Juan, and we're there for every home game for LSU football this season. We're looking forward to being there. Come hang out with us, enjoy a craft cocktail, a premium cigar, or stop into Don Juan Cigar Company next door and pick up your favorite to take home with you. DonJuanBatonRouge.com. One website combined for both the cigar bar and Don Juan Cigar Company. DonJuanBatonRouge.com. DonJuanBatonRouge.com. Okay, let's knock out our final break of the show, y'all. We'll come back. We'll answer your questions, so fire away. Email us, tweet us, or text. You can text 225-396-4400, 396-4400, 396-4400, or that's my text line, or the show text line, which is 499-1045, 499-1045. Ask us to wrap up next here on a Friday edition of AFR.
AFR.
Man, I love telling you about Watermark and Renaissance, 2 beautiful hotel properties in Baton Rouge. And, man, I don't know that there's a more appropriate time to talk about it than now, because football season's just about here. And so if you're planning your trips for football Saturdays coming up and you're going to be coming into Baton Rouge, you need to go get your room now at Watermark or at Renaissance. Either location, Watermark downtown, Renaissance Southtown, Baton Rouge's premier hotel properties. Watermark downtown, been voted the best hotel in the best of 225. Renaissance Baton Rouge, gorgeous, sprawling property, conveniently located on Bluebonnet near I-10 across from the Mall of Louisiana and Perkins Row. It's Watermark and Renaissance. Maybe it's you, maybe it's a client, a customer, family members coming in from out of town for a football Saturday and football weekend. Tell them to get their rooms booked now and start at Watermark downtown or the Renaissance on Bluebonnet. 2 amazing hotel properties, Watermark and Renaissance Baton Rouge.
People think it's all about game day. Let's go! But the real work happens in the off season.
Spring practices, early lifts,
Extra reps. And we need a healthcare team that works as hard as we do.
At FMOL Health, our lay of the lake, we take care of LSU football year-round.
so we can do what we do best.
We trust the lake.
From championship athletes to everyday champions, trusted care starts here.
Jordan Faber here with some exciting news. Faber Automotive has officially arrived. We're proud to introduce your new hometown dealership, Faber Chevrolet GMC. That means more inventory, better deals, and the same great local team. Now backed by the trusted Faber family name. Whether you're shopping or servicing, you'll feel the difference from day one. Allow us the opportunity to earn your business.
Fabry Chevrolet GMC. Visit us in St. Francisville or online at FabryChevrolet.com.
Transform your living space with Lacoste & Young Remodeling and take your home from outdated to outstanding. Redefine your kitchen for the ultimate culinary experience or elevate your daily routine with a spa-worthy bathroom retreat. Our skilled team brings 3D modeling to life to ensure your vision becomes a reality. We believe luxury should be accessible and offer tailored solutions to fit your budget without compromising quality. So contact us today for a free estimate. Lacoste & Young Remodeling, providing perfect solutions for your dream home.
The Ascension Parish Sheriff's Office protects and serves over 132,000 residents across the parish.
Keeping our community safe is our mission, and Rev Fiber plays a critical role in how we respond. Whether it's training in our special divisions, forensic...
Better coverage for less money. That's our friends over at Insurance Network of Louisiana. I tell you all the time about your personal insurance, right? Your home, your auto. All of us, if we can save money in our monthly budget, why wouldn't we do that? Of course we would. Let Insurance Network of Louisiana shop. But It extends to business owners as well because they handle all different types of commercial insurance. Maybe it's workers' comp. Maybe it's commercial auto. Any type of business, sports bars, restaurants, doctor's offices, literally anything. You're a business owner. You have insurance. What if you could save money each month, help your bottom line because of what you're paying for insurance coverage? Insurance Network of Louisiana, 293-0450, 293-0450, 293-0450, or online at lainsurance.net. They're in Baton Rouge, but they can help you no matter where you are. So give them a shout today or log on to lainsurance.net.
After Further Review with Matt Moscona, presented by Don Juan Cigar Bar.
Down the stretch we come. Final segment here on this Friday edition of AFR, presented by Don Juan Cigar Bar. One more big thank you to our friends here at the DraftKings Sportsbook at the Golden Nugget in Lake Charles. A lot of people were like, why were you in Lake Charles today? Well, there's an event called Legislator. It's legislators and business owners and oil and gas people and all different types that they have here in Lake Charles. And so a lot of our clients were here, and so we came to meet a lot of clients and sort of business lunch meeting sort of stuff like that. And so because we're here, I didn't have time to get back to Baton Rouge, so we needed a place to do the show. We've had a great relationship here with the folks at the Golden Nugget, and in particular, Joe and the staff here at the DraftKings Sportsbook here at the Golden Nugget. So we're very grateful to them for opening this cornering off this section of the sportsbook for us. It's great. I mean, it looks awesome. It's a great place to do the show. So we're very, very grateful for the partnership and highly recommend if you're looking for maybe something to do on a football weekend, a place to go watch games. Like come here, come to Lake Charles and come do the DraftKings Sportsbook and stay here at the Golden Nugget. Trust me, you'll love it. Okay, let's wrap up the show here with a little bit of Ask Us. Bro, I said Usk. I threw a K on us.
It's been a long day. Usk.
Fam, it has been a long day. Okay. Email us, tweet us, or text your questions. Alondra's here. If you got a question for Musso back in studio, I think we can make that work as well, so fire away. By the way, shout out. This is true. So Sean said Charlie Smith versus Tanner Brown. Yeah, shame on me. I should have mentioned that one as well when I was going through what to watch for the Saints-Rams game. Charlie Smith, the incumbent place kicker, felt like he had that job locked up. Tanner Brown coming in from the UFL has just been better, and that'll be fascinating. I don't know enough about what Kellen Moore is going to do with his kickers, but I know Sean Payton and them kickers never really got along, so dude missed a kick, Sean cut it. But it feels like right now that Tanner Brown has the upper hand, so we'll see. TK, ask us. With the recent court ruling, my Uncle Jerry's wondering if he has any eligibility left. He would bring a wealth of experience. Any NIL Piccadilly opportunities? Maybe it doesn't hit the same when Terrio's not here. Are you familiar with TK?
No.
So he's talking about Jerry Sullivan, who was an LSU receivers coach. He was like 80 when he was.
Okay.
Yeah, he was old, like Ogeron brought him back. He's an old man, and Terrio would come in studio and bring like adult diapers and Werther's originals, and it became a full thing.
Yeah.
So anyway,
the diapers is a step too far.
Is it? It's Terrio. I mean,
fair.
Brad, lots of hail on the North Shore and in NOLA. Sling those roofs. We're here for it, Brad. Need a roof? Call Parrish, parrishbuilt.com. Call Drew. Don't call my company. Call Drew Brees' company. How about that? parrishbuilt.com. Charlie, who is the commit men's basketball got today, and how do you feel about the collective bargaining for college athletes with player reps? Let me take the second one first. I would be fine with collective bargaining with player reps, but the thing that most people who mention that miss and lose sight of is that they're not employees. And you can say, but they're getting paid. Right, but they're not getting paid salaries. You could call it whatever you want, but legally, they are not employees. And we have seen in the past college athletes attempt to unionize, but every time they attempt to unionize, they lose. So the only way that happens, which I do think will happen eventually, But the only way that happens is when, not if, when college football breaks away from the NCAA, exists as its own entity, and the players are paid as employees, and then they can unionize. Now, the player, Jeff Goodman, said that LSU is pushing for a basketball guard from UCLA. Now, I'm not super keen on Jeff Goodman because he just very clearly has an axe to grind against LSU and Will Wade and everything right now. He's on one now with this ruling this week about, of course, LSU has a loophole. I mean, the bottom line is there's 18 cases with more than 250 athletes. If you only want to point out the LSU component of it, that's on you. But then you're not being honest and objective in the way you're reporting. But who he's talking about is UCLA point guard Donovan Dent. Donovan Dent got a TRO in California, and they're trying to get Donovan Dent. He averaged 13.7 assists, 25% from three last year. That's the one that they're keeping an eye on. We'll get to a few more here. Eric, ask us, are y'all going to do some gambling at the Nugget? What's your preferred game? Table games? Dellenger? You going to gamble?
Probably not. But if I were, maybe some blackjack.
They could set up a cot in the casino.
Mm-hmm.
Bring me meals for the rest of my life and tell me I can never leave. Like I'm in prison at the casino for the rest of my life.
And you won't play?
And I would never play again. I'm not against it.
Yeah.
I'm not for it. I'm not against. Erica likes to play. I am just so uninterested in blackjack or craps or roulette or slot or any of it. I'm just not interested in. I love this. I love sports betting.
Yeah.
I mean, I could maybe because I feel like I know it, whatever. But I could do this. No, that.
Not super into gambling. I like sports betting, but not like poker and stuff.
Brought to you by Shaw Bills. Shaw Bills Tire and Auto Service. ShawBillsTire.com. Name brand tires at wholesale prices. They keep you coming back as they treat you like family. It's Shaw Bills Tire and Auto Service. ShawBillsTire.com. ShawBillsTire.com. Find the location nearest you. Schedule service online. Look, don't go on that trip, that long vacation, that road trip during LSU football without getting those tires from Shaw Bills. Shaw Bills Tire and Auto Service. ShawBillsTire.com. Shaw Bills. We keep you rolling. Chris said, with the TRO, would LSU be in jeopardy of forfeiting wins if the TRO gets overturned later? No. Chris, that's something we have talked about several times. We've asked attorneys that on the record as well. The NCAA couldn't be punitive because the players would be playing under the TRO. So, no, they would not forfeit wins later. Okay, we got to get out of here. Muse Pauly, thanks. Alondra, you're the best. Thank you. Y'all have a great weekend. See ya.
AFR.
As we get on down the road, remind you about Our Lady of the Lake, championship health partner of LSU Athletics, fmolhealth.org/LSU. Our Lady of the Lake and LSU together, we roar. Jack Pyburn could be coming back to LSU. I don't know why I said that. I meant to say Lane Kiffin. Lane Kiffin, Jordan Seaton, that's the name that I was looking for. Players like Whit Weeks, Sam Levitt, Trades Green, they trust the Lake with their health care. And I trust the Lake. It was 2 weeks ago today. At this point, 2 weeks ago today, your boy was not feeling super hot. Appendicitis. When I wasn't feeling great, I went to the Lake. So my primary care physician, Dr. Tyler Boudreau, took great care of me, recognized what was up, got me over to the ER, got me admitted. Everyone at the Lake was awesome, from the emergency medicine team all the way to the nurses that took care of me overnight until pre-op, through my surgery, and all the way through recovery. They've been the best. I trust the Lake, and you should as well. Our Lady of the Lake and LSU, together we roar.
Community sailing is all about getting people in the New Orleans area out on boats, out on Lake Pontchartrain. Gulf Coast Bank helps us provide opportunities to get folks out who might not otherwise have the financial means to come sailing. Auctions in August is an online fundraiser that helps nonprofits like us service the community. Bidding through Auctions in August is a lot of fun because there's so many different items. There's something for everyone, so you're sure to find something that relates directly to you that you'll enjoy bidding on, and you get to help out the community.
Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram has the new Ram 1500 truck on our lot now with $22,000 off MSRP.
Plus the complimentary 7-year powertrain warranty that comes with all new Bayou Automotive vehicles.
If you need sales or service, the crew at Bayou Automotive is going to do right by you.
When a capital project moves from planning to execution, downtime isn't an option. Who do you trust to deliver? River Parish Contractors has more than 500 employees, dedicated safety, quality, and project management teams, and 9 full-time estimators backed by a 36,000 square foot automated pipe and structural steel fabrication facility. We can deliver multi-million-dollar industrial construction projects on time and safely. Locally owned and headquartered in South Louisiana. We're River Parish Contractors, and we're built for bigger challenges.
Ever wonder why cane sauce doesn't come in a pre-sealed packet? It's because it's made fresh inside every Raising Cane's every single day. Because when you make it right, you can taste it in every bite. Raising Cane's chicken fingers, one love.
The Ascension Parish Sheriff's Office protects and serves over 132,000 residents across the parish.
Keeping our community safe is our mission, and Rev Fiber plays a critical role in how we respond. Whether it's training in our special divisions, forensics investigations, or fielding emergency calls in our operations center, Rev Business connects our teams in real time, which is why we partner with Rev Business.
Get 6 months free of Rev Business services. Call or click today.
I'm Gabrielle McLeod on behalf of the Louisiana Propane Dealers. I have spent hundreds of hours preparing for scholarship competitions. That preparation paid off when I won the Fitness and Talent Awards along with the title of Miss Louisiana. The Louisiana Propane Dealers are also pretty talented and want you to be prepared for when the power goes out. Visit LouisianaPropane.com to find out about propane generators and other safety tips. Louisiana Propane, it truly is the fuel for our future.